In a year that's been unlike any other, disrupting society, one sport, one great American tradition continues. No, this year's Triple Crown won't be like the Triple Crown we've been used to. But nothing about this year has been anything like what we're used to. These seats typically are filled with 50 to more than 100,000 fans on Belmont's biggest day. Today, they'll be empty. Although altered, this year's Triple Crown presents new challenges. Most significantly, training a thoroughbred to remain in top condition, not just over a 5-week span, but a 15-week span. That journey begins here, today. Welcome to a historic edition of Belmont Stakes Day on America's Day at the Races. It's Triple Crown time with a star-studded undercard. The Woody Stevens kicks off the first of 4 Grade Ones, where Echo Town for Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen seeks his first stakes victory. A difficult trip cost Decorated Invader the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Can the favorite work out a more favorable journey in the Pennine Ridge? And Sakatoga Stable and Barkley Tag are back again. Can Tiz the Law win what Funny Side couldn't 17 years ago, as they aim for a career Triple Crown with another superstar New York bred? Welcome everyone to Elmont, New York. This is America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1. It is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Hello everyone and welcome to Belmont Stakes Day here on America's Day at the Races. Just the fact that we are back racing and beginning a Triple Crown, one that, yes, will be different than any other that we have ever run. For that, we are grateful. Today, a group of lifelong friends that started a small stable 25 years ago are back in position for a second time with the horse of a lifetime. But Funny Side was very different than Tiz the Law. He came under the radar into the Triple Crown. All eyes will be on Tiz the Law as the standout 3-year-old in this division going into the Belmont Stakes. A loaded stakes lineup on this Belmont Stakes Day, and we're going to bring you the Grade 1 Woody Stevens here on the program this afternoon. That is presented by Claiborne Farm, and the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. That is where you will see Decorated Invader. Joining me on set for Belmont Stakes Day, New York Racing Association handicapper. Great to see you, Andy Serling. So much talk about Tiz the Law from the day he began last summer at Saratoga as a 2-year-old. We're finally at the point we get to see him in the Triple Crown.
It's funny, he came into his first race not as the most heralded horse going into the race, but he came out of the race as perhaps the best 2-year-old to run at Saratoga the entire summer. And he has been basically a star since he hit the racetrack. And it's interesting, he and Funny Side, both New York bred, and it's great to see two of them, Greg, bringing so much attention to the terrific New York bred program.
Well, this is a look at what he did the last time he was on the racetrack. It was in the Florida Derby, 1 1/8, and he kept his perfect 3-year-old season intact. He did it impressively.
Yeah, and what I really like is that Barkley Tag, who's an old school trainer and truly one of the great trainers in the game, I don't think he, obviously you want to win every time you run, but I don't think he viewed his starts as must wins. He viewed them more as a way to get this horse ready for the big races. Well, today is the first truly big dance.
Yeah, they knew what they had from the very beginning, which is why they weren't thinking after that win of the Champagne. They didn't even want to go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
No, Barkley Tag didn't want to ship him out to California, and he wanted to run him at Churchill Downs. At that point, thinking the Derby would be about 5.5 months later. Things changed, but he got that race. He lost, but it doesn't matter because he got good experience out of the race.
These are the look at the current odds for the 152nd running of the Belmont Stakes, presented by Naira Bets. Tiz the Law, 6-5, current favorite. Surprised to see 6-5?
Well, no, because in these races, I mean, look at Jungle Warrior at 21-1. It seems like Triple Crown races, they overbet the long shots and underbet the favorites.
With more on the favorite, Tiz the Law, let's check in with Acacia Courtney.
17 years ago, the Sakatoga stable crew arrived at Belmont Park on yellow school buses as Funny Side tried to sweep the Triple Crown. He had won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness and was searching for that Belmont Stakes victory. While it didn't happen in 2003, Sakatoga is back this year with another New York bred, Tiz the Law, who's also trained by Barkley Tag. And here at Barkley's Belmont Barn, Funny Side's accolades are on display, but there's certainly a feeling of looking for a bit of redemption this year, as Tiz the Law is going in the overwhelming favorite in this year's Belmont Stakes. It's a different Belmont than is traditionally run, and our Richard Migliore is here to explain how. Richie?
You are looking at the 1 1/8 pole here at beautiful Belmont Park. We are standing way up in the chute on the far side of the track. And one of the unique features of Belmont Park is we're able to run a 1-turn 1 1/8. This is the starting point for this year's Belmont Stakes. And if you look behind me, take a look at how far a run to the far turn. They have over a half a mile before the riders really have to start making decisions and jockeying for position. It gives these 3-year-olds a time to get into a good rhythm, a good stride before the real racing begins. This year's Belmont, a little bit different because of the pandemic, short in distance, but it's still going to be an exciting, unique event.
Indeed, it will. The first time ever, the Belmont Stakes will kick off this Triple Crown, a 1-turn 1 1/8 to begin this sequence. And again, all eyes on another New York bred, Tiz the Law, as we go to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
Thanks, Greg. And Tiz the Law, he is your current favorite and will likely be the post-time favorite in here. And Barkley Tagg has masterfully prepared him for this first start back since his Grade 1 win in the Florida Derby. We saw his last workout, and he has had this pattern of a strong 5/8, sometimes generally in company, especially his works down at Palm Meadows in Florida, and then followed up with an easy half mile. That's what we're seeing here, as he did just go 50-2 beneath Manny Franco. But before this work even started, as Manny headed down the backside at this expansive Belmont Park backstretch, Tiz the Law wanted to get a little strong with him. He had to do everything he could to kind of harness that energy. He did well in doing so. But what I like about this work is that Manny couldn't even pull him up afterwards as well. It took all the way past the tractor yards for him to be picked up by Barkley Tagg on a stable pony. So indicating that he has tons of energy. He's very, very strong. And I mean, he just floated over this track beautifully. So he's being prepared by Barkley with this race in mind. And I love everything I've seen from him in those preparations, Greg.
Oh, Barkley Tagg, thank you, Maggie. He was joking that Tiz said to him, I'm ready to roll. And it seems like he is coming into this race. He does everything so easily. He's been a joy for Barkley Tagg and company around the barn. You could bet the Belmont Stakes by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. They have a Belmont Stakes offer where new members get a $25 free play immediately after sign up. Plus, you can take advantage of a $200 deposit match after that first deposit with the promo code Belmont25. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to NairaBets.com. Again, use that promo code Belmont25 to get involved. We bring in Jonathan Kinchin now from Austin, Texas. Jonathan, if we want to bet this Belmont Stakes, and say you even do like the favorite, Tiz the Law, who's the 6-5 on the board right now, how do we make money on this race?
Well, typically in racing, when the favorite is a short price, it's kind of hard to bet on them. Sometimes they can get to be odds on, and there's not enough value there. If Tiz the Law stays 6-5 and you like him, there's an opportunity to bet him to win. Now, if you're looking for a little bit of a bigger score, you can try to hook him up in some multi-race bets, whether it be the daily double with the Jaipur, whether it be a pick 3 starting in the Acorn, or even the pick 5. Those are great opportunities. The other thing you can do is try to hit cold exactas in the race, using some other horses in the Belmont that you think might have a chance to run second. But like I said, at 6-5, there's absolutely nothing wrong with betting this horse to win. He's a New York bred, he's in New York, and he's got Manny Franco up. I think all of us on this show know how good Manny Franco is, but today after this race, the rest of the world might know as well.
Very quiet young man who just goes about his business. This could be a life-changing day for him. Certainly the biggest opportunity young Manny Franco has ever had in his career. Second race on the card today, it is the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. In Echo Town, he was beat by a Tom Amoss runner. Long weekend of the Bachelor at Oaklawn. He's going to have to deal with another Tom Amoss runner, No Parole, who is in sharp form. That'll be in the second with the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Don't miss today's Belmont Stakes Day. Swale and Gotham Stakes winner Mischievous Alex has been toying with the competition.
Mischievous Alex has a 3-length lead, and he's going to win the Grade 3 Gotham.
Can Mischievous Alex win a 4th straight? The Woody Stevens kicks off an all-star card, the first of 6 stakes races on the program. Watch the 36th running of the Woody Stevens, presented by Claiborne Farm.
A live bid of $775,000 was not high enough to buy this uber-fast son of Run Happy at the OBS 2-year-old sale June 10th. I can't wait to write the owner a check for $100,000 when he graduates with a maiden special weight win at Belmont, Saratoga, Delmore, or Kentucky Downs Summer Meet. Run Happy, standing in legendary stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
This is Edgar.
Hey.
Edgar loves betting on sports, but horse racing? That's a no. But these days, Edgar's found himself looking for a few more ways to win.
I do like more.
So he downloaded FanDuel Racing, the only app built specifically for fans who are new to betting horses. And with FanDuel Racing, Edgar can stream every race right from the comfort of his couch. And with a race starting every few minutes, it sure beats. Bet and watch the Belmont Stakes on FanDuel Racing. New users get 20-to-1 odds on any horse to win.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on Belmont Stakes Day, presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Our remaining races brought to you by Claiborne. The entire card just stacked with stakes action. We'll bring you races 1 through 5 and 11 and 12 once the Belmont has concluded. So we'll be back on later this evening at 6 Eastern time, and races 1 through 5, race 11 at Churchill Downs as well. If you're a Naira Bets member, bet $100, get an early bird bonus. Bet $100 on the first 5 races today at Belmont. Get a $20 bonus in your account. I know someone sitting next to me who's already taken advantage of that.
I have already bet the $100 in the first race alone. Doubles, exactas, win. I'm in, Greg.
I like to hear that. All right, so this first race coming up, let's get going here. 1 mile on the turf. It's on the Widener Turf Course, $75,000 maiden claiming event. And Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, they scratch half of the entry. They keep in traffic pattern a first-time starter who was favored at 5-2.
One of the reasons I like betting this race is I don't want any part of traffic pattern in this race. Chad Brown and Klarovich Stables have a lot of success together. Chad Brown is just 4 for 32 with an 80-cent ROI with maiden claimers debuting on the turf.
Irad Ortiz Jr. will get the call here on the son of Temple City, a 4-year-old debuting in this maiden claiming event.
Yeah, 4-year-old, a lot of things not to like. It's a powerful combination, but I'm taking the chance and the odds against.
Sea City, 33-1. Dylan Davis, first-timer for John Stevens, who's been doing well with his runners.
Well, he had a heartbreaking loss for him and me at 31-1 with a first-time star the other day. This one has a mild turf pedigree.
The other half of the entry, Hidden Style, both these two going to break on the extreme outside.
Right, this one ran once in the dirt, tries turf for the first time, does not have much pedigree. The dam herself was a steeplechase runner, actually.
Zuzudini, son of Bernardini, gets the rail.
Aren't you glad that you're not the track announcer calling that horse?
I'm so glad it is John Imbriel, not me. Tis Envy. Amira Shishakli, we've seen her runners doing very strong at this meet.
And she cuts back in distance on a horse that ran off to a big lead in a mile and a quarter.
Jimmy Jerkins, he sends out Holy Emperor, son of Street Sense.
He's a big player getting back to the turf and dropping from maiden special to maiden claiming races.
Tom Albertrani sends out Scano, who's a beaten favorite for 50 maiden claiming at Gulfstream.
Don't like the horse he ran with the Gulfstream. Another reason I want to play this race, I think he's vulnerable as the second choice.
There's Striking Speed, Jose Lezcano for Linda Rice.
This horse is trying the turf for his second career start for a trainer, Linda Rice, who has outstanding numbers with second time starting maiden.
Super Energizer, it's Joel Rosario for Michael Trombetta.
And a new gelding for Mike Trombetta coming off his best career effort.
Turn of Events, Kendrick Carmouche on board for Mike Maker.
This is my top choice, the 11 Turn of Events. Mike Maker has huge numbers, 26 for 90 with a 248 ROI, making that drop from maiden special weights, Greg, to maiden claimers.
And Raylu Gutierrez, 23-year-old young rider. He'll be the youngest jockey lining up at the Belmont Stakes. He's on phase at 16-1.
Well named for a rider who is unfazed by all the attention. The dam did win on the turf, and this is a good switch in surfaces for a horse that lost by 79 3/4 lengths. And Greg, not 80, 79 3/4.
All right, so on the lower side, that's a positive.
Less than 80.
There
so
you go.
He's good. That's the point.
If you're watching our Belmont coverage today, you can get involved with the free-to-enter showdown with $5,000 in prizes that are up for grabs today. Place your mythical bets and watch your name climb that leaderboard. The only way to win big on Belmont races today with no money down. Go to naira.com/showdown to get started. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And we'll take a look at that first-time starter from the Chad Brown Barn and Klarovich Stables in traffic pattern. Well, Andy kind of said it. There's reasons to take another horse in here outside of him, as he is a 4-year-old first-time starter, and he's just this big, still, even despite being 4, somewhat raw-looking individual. You know, there's not that kind of athletic frame to him. He's more of that just heavy bone type of runner, and while I think the turf is obviously what he wants, despite not having much pedigree on the bottom side, he is by Temple City, who's by Dynaformer. I just would like to look elsewhere because he doesn't have that athletic kind of appeal to him that many other horses do in here. And my top pick will be number 7, Holy Emperor, who only has 1 try on turf, and it was a 1 1/8. I like the fact that he only gets a flat mile here today. Yeah, maybe it's not the strongest maiden special weight, but still, he does get that. I should say the maiden special weight he had at Gulfstream, he ran in at Gulfstream, but still he gets that drop in class today, and he looks fantastic. I mean, just a super coat. He looks all turf, like him getting back to that. Number 8 is Scano, but it's Scano. He was the one who caught my eye the most here, and plus he's a lot more of a mentally mature individual when I had last seen him, albeit that was later on in his second career start. Number 9, Striking Speed. I like him switching to the turf. He looks like a turf horse. Jonathan?
Yeah, I kind of like the 8 Scano, and I understand what Andy's saying. I don't trust the horse necessarily, but you mentioned the 7 Holy Emperor, the 9 Striking Speed, the 10 Super Energy. I feel like those horses could run fast enough to set it up a little bit for Scano on the drop. And I agree with Andy. I'm against the 1A here for Chad Brown. But don't just, kind of paint that with one brush when Chad runs horses for claiming tag, especially for Klarovich Stables. We saw what he did last week with Spirit Animal.
Well, guys, I'm over here in isolation, all by myself, taking my social distancing very serious. It's a great day to be here at Belmont Park, Belmont Stakes Day, and even though we don't have a crowd, we have a lot of excitement. We're going to kick it off with a real competitive opener going a mile on the turf. I really like Holy Emperor as well. He comes from the Jimmy Jerkins barn, son of the Hall of Famer, the late, great Alan Jerkins. Horse looks superior on the racetrack. I thought his one turf race was very good. I didn't think they did him any favors slowing him down too much on the lead that day. I think there's more pace in here because he looks like a little bit of a one-paced horse. I think if they just let him run his race, he's probably going to find himself 4 or 5 lengths away and make one run. I think Holy Emperor looks really good. It makes a lot of sense to me on the track. The 6-horse Phase, guys, he was acting up a great deal in the post parade. He did this in his first start when he was beaten at 79 3/4 lengths at Aqueduct on the dirt. I'm sure he'll like the turf more, but keep an eye on him as we get closer to the gate. Has a tendency to kind of keep on freezing. You see, he doesn't want to go forward. He stops. They got to prod him on. He's a horse that's just not very sure of himself. And the 8 Scano, who Jonathan likes a great deal, Greg, this horse got a super aggressive warm-up. He basically blew out 1/8 of a mile on the way to the starting gate under Javier Castellano.
Meg, thanks. Yeah, the 8 Scano dropped in for a maiden claiming tag for the first time in career start number 9. He was a beaten favorite that just missed by a neck, and he was well clear of the third-place finisher.
Yeah, I don't like the field he was running against. I think he's running in a much tougher field. I mean, he's dealing with horses like Turn of Events, the 11 trying maiden claimers for the first time, the number 7 Holy Emperor trying maiden claimers for the first time, even a Chad Brown first-time starter. Last time was his chance to win at 8-5, and he failed to do it. And today he's 7-2 against just a much, much tougher field. I wouldn't fall out of my chair if he won, but I think he's a terrible gamble in here. Like I said, I bet the 11 Turn of Events dropping for Mike Maker. He didn't handle a yielding turf last time. The turf is much firmer now, and I used him with the 10 Super Energizer, the 9 Striking Speed, and the 7 Holy Emperor in the exacta.
Meanwhile, the betting public, they are settling on the horse you just saw step in line, Eclipse Award-winning connections. Chad Brown, he's won 4 straight Eclipse Awards as outstanding trainer at Rat Ortiz Jr. He has won 2 straight as outstanding rider, and Klarovich Stables won last year. They shared it with William Lawrence. That's a lot of hardware. Traffic Pattern, first time out. The 5-2 favorite as we kick off action here on Belmont Stakes Day in Elmont, New York. We send it upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. And from the outside, Turn of Events is going out for the lead. Scano is right there. Now Striking Speed moves up, so it's 3 of them across the track for the lead. As they race up the back stretch, Striking Speed has come away with the lead. Scano runs in second. Turn of Events is next in third. Then it's Holy Emperor. And on the outside is Super Energizer. And then we come back to Traffic Pattern, who's down on the inside in 6th. Phase is in between horses and racing in 7th. On the outside is Hidden Style, along with Sea City. Then farther back, it's Zuzudini and Tis Envy. The quarter went in 23 1/5 seconds. Striking Speed leads by a head. Scano right there on the outside in second. Now it's 2.5 lengths to Turn of Events and Holy Emperor. They're heads apart, 3rd and 4th. Super Energizer is on the move on the outside in 5th. Traffic Pattern runs in 6th, 4 lengths from the lead. And then comes Phase, and on the outside is Sea City as Tis Envy makes up some ground towards the rail. And they're followed by Zuzudini, the half in 46 3. Scano, Turn of Events. Now they're 1-2 into the stretch with Super Energizer on the outside. Holy Emperor looking for a way through. Traffic Pattern is now kicking in on the outside with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. It is Scano and Traffic Pattern. Holy Emperor rallies down at the rail. They're coming down for the finish, and it will be Traffic Pattern to take the opener on Belmont Stakes Day. Traffic Pattern, then Holy Emperor, Scano, and Turn of Events.
These connections just too tough to beat, giving up experience as well. And Traffic Pattern, Rat Ortiz Jr. had a pretty snug hold of this horse. This was easy.
It seems like a recurrent theme now in the, what are we, in the 12th day of the Belmont meeting in these turf races, that there's a Klarovich horse that just comes charging down the stretch and blows by everybody. It's the 9th win for that stable in particular since the Belmont beat began, and he just ran by, and this was not an easy field. And this first-time starter, I mean, properly placed for $75,000, Greg. People could say, oh, it could have been a maiden special. No, I don't think so. I think this is exactly where this horse belonged. This 4-year-old first-time starter just mowed them down. I think that Scano ran very well to finish 3rd. The number 7 horse in here, Holy Emperor, had a little bit of traffic, came through for 2nd. My 11 horse, Turn of Events, I thought he was home free top of the stretch, Greg. I thought he'd open up and run right by, and he hung badly in the stretch.
Let's go to Mig, and Mig, issues here with the 7 horse Holy Emperor out of the gate.
Yeah, the 6-horse who was obstreperous in the post parade, that's Phase. He's going to veer out at the start. Raylu Gutierrez did a good job of straightening him out as quick as possible. And that's all you can ask from a rider, is that they make that kind of effort. They don't allow their horse to continue that progress to the right. After that, Holy Emperor worked out a pretty good trip. He had to fight his way through some traffic, but traffic pattern, he was best. He won easier than the margin of victory would indicate, and he avoided all that traffic just coming out around everybody. But I agree with Andy. One of the reasons Chad Brown is so successful, not just because of the physical condition he has his horses in, but because he's realistic about where he spots them. He puts them in positions to succeed, not fail, and that's why he hits at the percentage he hits at, Greg.
Well, these connections put a horse in for a tag earlier this week. He ran lights out. They lost him. Did they lose traffic pattern? We'll have the answer to that when we return, and we'll visit with the new voice of New York racing. He's waited a long time for this opportunity, 40 years with the New York Racing Association, and John Imbrial will call his first Triple Crown race later this afternoon.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Sign up now for a $25 free play and up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Belmont25.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now, his much-anticipated first crop are bringing top dollar in the sales ring. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're still up at the break of dawn, committed more than ever to the health and safety of all our athletes. And with many of our other favorite sports on hold, we're still offering the most thrilling, heart-pounding action in all the land. And that, America, is something you can bet on.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Belmont Stakes Day here on Fox Sports 1. It is brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets, the official betting partner of the Belmont Stakes. It is awfully tough to beat these connections, and that's why they have all the hardware I mentioned. Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, and Irad Ortiz Jr. kick off this Belmont Stakes Day card with a first-time starter.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? The maiden claimers, they're in the right spot, and this is something that Chad Brown does not excel with maiden claimers winning. But this horse, and this was not an easy field, and this horse just ran by everybody in the stretch. And watching the race, Greg, it's not like anybody else made a run from the back of the pack, except for this horse.
Even when he thinks they're not up to standard to stay in his barn, they still, first time out, beat horses with experience.
Yeah, a 4-year-old firster, I mean, there's not a lot of risk to get claimed for $75,000, but you know,
he stayed with the barn, by the way.
And Chad Brown started horse and maiden claimers that went on to do well. He won with a horse named Big Blue Kitten, who was a Grade 1 winner. I once said, you know, you ran this horse in a clay race first time out, and he said, no, I ran him in 3 claiming races, actually.
That was a look at the field for the Grade 1 Woody Stevens, presented by Claiborne Farm. Some of the top 3-year-old sprinters in the country lining up, going 7/8 of a mile, and no parole for Tom Amos. Going to go up against Echo Town for Steve Asmussen, who sends out a couple of horses in that race. We'll get to more on the Woody Stevens in a moment. First, we visit with the new voice of New York racing, and just a great example of patience and persistence for John Imbrial. 40 years, Johnny I, and finally now you're going to be calling your first Triple Crown race. What does it mean for you after all that time to get this opportunity to call a Belmont Stakes?
Hi, Greg and Andy. It's, you know, it's even now when the day has gotten here after knowing about it for a couple of months, it's still kind of hard, you know, to put into words. There's a tremendous amount of excitement. There's a tremendous amount of really just an honor to be able to call the Belmont and follow all the great broadcasters that have done the race, you know, in the past. And it's a different scenario. We all know that. But you don't really need any outside influence to get you pumped up for the Belmont Stakes and for the entire card that we have today.
John, as a huge New York sports fan, and obviously a big New York Yankees fan, what does it mean to have a chance to call the first big sporting event to not just return to New York State, but the entire country?
Well, I thought about that a little bit, Andy, when we opened up on, you know, June the 3rd with the first race back, and I was really, I had a lot of butterflies that day, and I was a very happy camper at around 1:20 after that first race, you know, was completed, and I'm happy I got that under my belt because that was a big moment and a big day as well. And, you know, this now follows that, obviously. It's the Belmont Stakes. It's a different ball game, but certainly one that you get pumped up for, and you just have that great anticipation. But now I'm at the point where I want it to happen. You know, you've thought about it. I've probably studied the field, you know, more than I studied, you know, for SATs, you know, back in the day. And I hope I do better today than I did on the SATs back in high school. So there's a lot of preparation, as you know. But, you know, you just hope that it's a clean break, everybody gets a good trip, and it's a terrific race.
John, I've got a question for you because you continue a tradition of great race callers in New York. And, you know, I think back going to Fred Capicella, who also was a New York native like yourself. How does it feel to continue that tradition? And also, did any of these great announcers over the years influence your style?
I think that it is like I said before, Meg, it's a tremendous honor to follow in their footsteps and to try to get close to what they accomplished. I learned under Marshall Cassidy. He was here when I first started in '79, so he probably influenced me a lot as far as my style and the importance of accuracy. But Tom Durkin taught me a big lesson by saying that, you know, don't listen to me. Create your own style. Everybody has their ranges as far as how high you can go, how low you can go. And listen, nobody had better phrases than Tom, but those were his. And so you try to come up, you know, with your own and see if you can develop your own style. And, you know, I've tried to do that, although you can learn from everybody. I don't think anybody had a better voice for announcing races than Dave Johnson. And if you just think of all the guys, you know, going back to Dave and Chick and, you know, most recently Tom and Larry and, you know, and everybody. And obviously Cappy. I mean, you know, going back, he was here for so long. And everybody imitated Capicella. That's the greatest tribute, is the imitation.
Well, Johnny Brial, congratulations. It is well-deserved, and as good a person as you are a race car, I think anyone who's come into contact with Johnny Brial knows what a tremendous person he is. It started all back for him. He actually won a New York Daily News contest to call a race back in 1979. Who would have thought he would have become the voice of New York racing all these years later?
We're lucky he won that contest, and I've worked with a lot of great people in racing and outside of it, none more so than John Brial, who is as generous and kind a person as you'll ever be fortunate enough to know.
And as accurate a race caller as you will find in the entire country. 'Tis the law, the New York bred. Getting ready to line up for Sackatoga Stable. Can they get a Belmont Stakes this time around? We'll talk with the head of Sackatoga, Jack Knowlton, when we return on America's Day at the Races.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date Sunday, June 21st.
Visit NYRA.com/Empire6 for complete details.
Star winning
the races with Daily Racing Form's new mobile pass performances. Access the most trusted information in horse racing, including exclusive buyer speed figures and DRF analysis and selections. Experience the new mobile optimized DRF pass performances on your phone from anywhere at any time. Go to drf.com/Fox. Use coupon code FOX to get a free single card and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand.
Jack, it's Greg Wolf. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, great. We're going to be with you shortly here. We're just coming out of a
Sounds
break.
good.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1. You could celebrate the first leg of the Triple Crown wherever you may be and however you want. Visit BelmontStakes.com/Your Belmont Stakes to learn more about the contenders, download activities, tip sheets, and games, and make some of our favorite recipes and more. That's BelmontStakes.com/Your Belmont Stakes to get your at-home Belmont Stakes kit. As we take a look at the current odds for the Belmont Stakes, the favorite, that is Tiz the Law. He, of course, is owned by Sakatoga Stable. And joining us on the phone right now, the head of Sakatoga Stable. I love the story of this group. Jack Knowlton, a group of friends got together back in 1995, bought some small horses to get involved, and all of a sudden, you had Funny Side, and you're on the cusp of a Triple Crown. How has Tiz the Law in this experience been different from what you went through with Funny Side 17 years ago?
Well, Funny Side was under the radar screen. You know, he won 3 New York bred races in his 2-year-old year, and then ran well, but didn't win before the Kentucky Derby. So, you know, really, other than some people around the Capital Region and Saratoga, he didn't get much press, much attention, and it really wasn't until he won the Kentucky Derby that he was in, you know, the limelight.
Jack, you know, there's always a lament in racing, right? You get a really good horse like Funny Side, and obviously a terrible horse. Did you ever say to yourself, I'm never going to get another good horse again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, all we do is we buy New York breds. We typically buy 1, maybe 2 horses a year. We had a 4-horse stable is pretty much our stable. So, you know, lightning striking twice the way it has, getting a horse like Tiz, way beyond any dreams that we had. We try to get New York breds, maybe be good enough to run in some of the New York Stakes races, and that's the ceiling that we're hoping for.
Jack, obviously they're both New York breds. I was fortunate to ride Funny Side for you late in his career. Tiz the Law, though, seems a little bit more easy to handle, if you will. Where Funny Side was tough and he could be a little bit rank and difficult to train at times, Tiz the Law seems a bit more push button and laid back.
I mean, that's absolutely true. You know, Robin has said that right from the get-go. She was about the only person that really was on Funny Side back in those days because he was so difficult to ride. But with Tiz, you know, everybody who's around him says that he is just such a neat horse. He's an intelligent horse. And he's laid back. And as Manny Franco said, you know, he does whatever I want him to do. And I think we saw that in the Holy Bull.
Jack, I know that you'd love to be here in person to watch Tiz the Law in action. You made so much, it became such a sensation with Funny Side 17 years ago. You had that yellow school bus. If by some chance Tiz the Law is alive as we go along this Triple Crown and fans are allowed to be back in the stands, or even owners, you're gonna get that yellow school bus back out?
We've got that reserved for Louisville. Hopefully, after this stop in Belmont, we'll be at the Travers in Saratoga, and obviously we have enough points to go to the Derby, and as long as he's healthy and sound, that's the plan.
Jack Knowlton, best of luck today. Tiz the Law, he has been so much fun to watch. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Wish I could be there.
Well, we wish you and all the fans could be here as well. We hope sooner than later that is the case. Jack Knowlton, Saratoga Stable, trainer Barkley Tagg trying to win the Belmont Stakes. With Tiz the Law, he'll be the big favorite later on this afternoon. We'll set the stage for our first of 4 Grade 1s. When we return, it is the Woody Stevens. When we come back, Echo Town, part of a duo of runners for a Hall of Famer, Steve Asmussen, lining up next.
As the world faces unprecedented challenges, our faith and resolve have been challenged like never before. But tough times never last, tough people do. Thanks to all the fans, the backstretch workers, trainers, owners, breeders, veterinarians, and countless others behind the scenes. We are inspired daily by your commitment, and we applaud your passion for this great sport. Together we'll rise above this, and soon we will all run happy again.
The Fasig-Tipton Mid-Atlantic 2-year-olds in training sale, producing the most Grade 1 winners of any 2-year-old sale in the USA. Recent graduates include Grade 1 winners Abscond, Bowie's Hero, Concrete Rose, Gut Stormy, Hunter O'Reilly, Mucho Gusto, Secret Spice, and Spawn to Run. Now with online bidding available. The Mid-Atlantic 2-year-olds in training sale, June 29th and 30th in Timonium, Maryland. It's happening.
Speedster. He's got Spite Speed, arguably the fastest graded stakes winning miler of his 3-year-old crop.
And here is one talented colt named Speedster.
He's from the Spites line and the immediate female family of champion sire Smart Strike. He's got the Spites look, cementing his status as Spitestown's heir apparent. He is the next Spites Up. Speedster.
Adrenaline pumping, hearts racing, the thrill of winning. And it all happens right here. Twin Spires, from the team behind the Kentucky Derby and the destination for horse racing wagering from around the globe. From beginner to expert, Twin Spires is betting made fun and easy. And for new players, once you place your first $25 worth of bets, we'll match that in bonus bets. Twin Spires, racing into your home. Download the app now. See site for details. Void where prohibited. Please wager responsibly.
They're at the 8th pole. Swale still leads. That lead is going out now to about 4 lengths. Morning Bob on the rail, joined on the outside now by Pine Circle, moving up quickly. Pine Circle takes second as Swale leads to the wire.
Back in 1984 in the Belmont Stakes, that was Swale, Lafitte Pincaille Jr. in the famed colors at Claiborne Farm. And the 4th fastest time in Belmont Stakes history, part of that incredible run for the great Woody Stevens, his 5 consecutive victories in the Belmont Stakes.
And how appropriate for Claiborne Farm, who not just Swale, but a long time a relationship with Woody Stevens. And that was an amazing, amazing achievement by him. A Creme Fraiche, Dan's Connection. I was there for 3 of them. I did not see Conquistador Cielo or Swale, but I saw the others. In fact, they're the only 2 Belmont Stakes, Greg, I have missed in 44 years.
What an incredible accomplishment. He really saved some of his best for later in his career.
Oh, amazing. Right, I agree. I mean, arguably, he didn't have that many top horses after that, but, I mean, he had some great horses. Conquistador Cielo, that achievement, 5 days after winning the Met Mile, coming back and winning the Belmont. Amazing.
Well, Steve Asmussen, he's going to have 2 opportunities to win this year's edition of the Woody Stevens. Echo Town right now, the more highly regarded of those two. 7-2 on the board. He comes in off a win at Churchill.
And he's been terrific. I mean, you can't knock him as a racehorse. The question is whether he can keep it going. And for me, I think that Maru, who's the number 2 in today's race, is a more likely winner because Maru did not have the best of trips. He just never got into a comfortable rhythm. Now, I'm not knocking Echo Town. He ran very, very well to win. But Maru just never got to that right spot. And even though he sort of gets blind switched at that point, he comes running again at the end. And what I like about the number 2 Maru today is this is a horse that showed as much talent as pretty much any 2-year-old in the country last year. And so he has that bottom. And he had a sort of tough trip return, and now he's ready to run his big race. I like Maru a lot today, but this is a wide open Woody.
Yeah, Maru, there he is, son of Sky Mesa, a horse that this is his career start number 5. He just seems to keep moving forward every single time he's on the racetrack. We send it downstairs for a paddock report brought to you by Run Happy. Check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, this is a 5-horse field for this Woody Stevens, but you can make a case for every single horse. There is no outlier in this field whatsoever, as I'll start with the inside runner. That's the Louisiana bred number 1, No Parole, as he'll make this start here for trainer Tom Amos. And now, Tom is our colleague, and I'm not trying to butter him up, but this guy does look best in here. I mean, he's a very handsome horse, and he's got a little bit more size and a little more scope to him, but also it's his demeanor. Horses are herd animals, and a lot of times you see those speed types of horses, they tend to be the dominant ones, and you can tell that. He gives off that air, so it's no surprise that while trying to stretch out as well, it didn't work out that when he didn't get to the lead. He wasn't happy that way. So we just, Luis Saez has one job, and that's just go from the inside, as this guy looks extremely well turned out for his New York debut. Moving on to number 3, Mischievous Alex. He does have some of the fastest races coming in here, and yeah, he does like to be forwardly placed as well. So we'll see how things develop out in the front end. He's a smaller, very much shorter coupled individual, so turning back again to the 7/8 is ideal. I wouldn't want to see him going any longer. I think he is more of a true sprinter, despite winning, going the 1-turn mile in the Grade 3 Gotham. He's fine, and I can see where he has the credentials to win here, but I do prefer others based upon appearances here in the paddock, and one that I'm very intrigued by is number 5, Shoplifted, who has been going around 2 turns at Oaklawn Park, and I think the turn back is essential. I mean, he was a 2-year-old that in his second start in the Hopeful, I had reservations about him getting the 7/8, but another kind of year under his belt, obviously this turn back is what he needs. He's built downhill. He has those really nicely developed hindquarters. And while he comes in off a little bit of a break here, he looks so strong, so well defined, really nicely on the bridle too, Greg. I really like what I'm seeing from Shoplifted, as he might be the one that's the best price.
It tells you how closely bunched this group is. Everyone on the board between 2-1 and 5-1 here in this Grade 1 Woody Stevens, presented by Claiborne Farm. As we take a look at Mischievous Alex, and it was a spelling error, a mistake of the owner in here. Chuck Zachney said he was in a rush here. Otherwise, he would have used spell check to get the name right. This horse, Richie, he has just continued to run big. Since he added blinkers, it seems like he's taken that next step and become a lot better.
And what's made him doubly dangerous is the fact that he possesses speed, but he doesn't have to be on the lead, and he's won from lurking just off the pace. And I do think the top spot, he won't be on the lead. I think that spot will be occupied, so he's going to have to just be lurking right in behind him, and he's shown the ability to do that. I think that helps his cause a great deal.
He's very sharp, Mig, when he breaks from the gate, but yeah, Kendrick Carmouche knows that and was aware of that in the Gotham, didn't zip to that lead. He was patient with him.
Well, you love to break sharply because it allows you to set up your position. It's not dictated to you. If you don't break really sharp, sometimes you get shuffled back or bumped. When horses leave the gate on time and then wait on their riders' cues, it just makes their trip so much easier.
Woody Stevens, presented by Claiborne Farm, is coming up next. We talked about the success of Jack Knowlton Sakatoga Stable. How about with Mischievous Alex? Chuck Zachney, he actually was inspired by Smarty Jones' improbable emergence with John Service. And of course, he teams up with John Service here with Mischievous Alex. They got into that game that same year, purchased a Fleet Alex for $75,000, and they would go on to win the Preakness in Belmont back in 2005.
He's a fine horse, and I like the fact that they recognize the Mischievous Alex as a sprinter, and they're not going into longer races with him as of yet.
No parole for trainer Tom Amos. Son of Violence comes off a win at Oaklawn.
He's going to try to wire the field. He's got to show he can get 7 furlongs in this kind of quality field.
Maru, we talked about him earlier. For Colts Next Stables, Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
I think he's going to benefit greatly from his return race last time out and believe he'll give a very good account of himself today.
Now, connections, they say he's not a big horse, so you always worry about how far he'll go, but so far he has kept on rolling up to a mile in the Gotham.
You could argue this is clearly the toughest field he's faced, but he's won 2 grade stakes in a row, and he's won them quite easily.
Echo Town, 1 of 2 for the Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen. This is son of Speightstown.
He's going to have to duel and back or deal with the speed and no parole and then hold off potential closers.
And the other Steve Asmussen runner, son of Into Mischief, Jose Ortiz, on Shoplifted.
If you like him, you are counting on the cutback and distance helping his chances. It should improve him. Will it improve him enough?
Meanwhile, with more on Maru, we head to Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thanks. I'm standing by with his trainer, Jorge Duarte Jr. And Jorge, this would be your first Grade 1 win. This horse, not the easiest of trips in his last couple. What have you seen from him now, second off the layoff?
He's gotten much bigger this year. He looks very well this year. He's training well. Come out of that Churchill race very good, and I hope it sets up for him today.
You said to me as we were walking out of the paddock that he's taken that big jump forward now as a 3-year-old. What have you really seen training leading up to this?
Yeah, he's filled in the right spots. Like he's a little more settled than he was early on as a 2-year-old. So, I think that helps going forward.
This, as I mentioned, would be your first Grade 1 win. People might have seen on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever social media, that you were sick with coronavirus. We're thrilled to see you back here. What would it mean to get your Grade 1 win after all of those challenges?
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, I'm lucky I'm here. A lot of people didn't make it, and I'm very fortunate I'm here. We're looking forward to get a first Grade 1. That'll be amazing.
Well, thank you so much. We're thrilled to see you here at Belmont today, and looking for his first Grade 1 win. It certainly would be a sweet one, Greg.
Thank you very much, Cassie. Thank you.
Oh, no question, Acacia. We've heard of a lot of people in this industry who have dealt with that, who've dealt with loss. Javier Castellano was quarantined for a while as well, and his riding opportunities were limited while he had to sit out. Meanwhile, we take a look at No Parole. I'll bring in Jonathan Kinchin here. This horse, extremely talented. JK, he won the first 3 starts of his career against Louisiana breds by a combined 34 lengths. He proved he could beat Open Company, though, in his last start.
Absolutely. We know how much we all love Tom Amos. I think he's one of the greatest horse trainers in this country. And the thing about this horse is that Tom at some point thought to try him going long. So I'm not worried about the added distance. He's fast. He's been explosive. He's got the rail, which means there's not going to be any joking around. They're going to run away from there. If he doesn't win, he is going to impact the race. I do think he's the best speed in here and the one that I want if you're looking for a speed horse. Now, the interesting thing about this race is that the 3 horses with speed are all ridden by the top echelon of speed riders. Luis Saez has been known as a guy that can get him out of the gate. Kendrick Carmouche, Ricardo Santana, they are going to fly in this race, and I really like Shoplifted. I think Shoplifted in here is going to, is got that cut back. I think he's going to have pace to run into, and I've been waiting for this horse to cut back since, I don't know, the last time I had dinner at 15 Church in Saratoga. I cannot wait for this spot for him. They should run in front of him. If he's good enough, he'll get there.
Well, there's plenty of speed, certainly, to set it up for him today.
Yeah, I mean, nobody loves turnbacks, cutbacks from routes to sprints more than I do. I'm a little skeptical on how talented he is. I used him in my exact box. I don't like No Parole, the 1, and I don't like the 4 Echo Town. So I'm basically sort of going against them, and I played Maru, the 2, with the 3 of Mischievous Alex and the 5 Shoplifting Exactas. We'll see.
Back to No Parole for a moment. He has that inside post. We know how quick he is. He won from the rail last start. Tom Amos talked about, with that draw, as we look at him here, you have to protect the rail where we're drawn in here and be in that first fight. What does that mean here? What's the job of Luis Saez?
Hey, he's got to go, and Luis Saez knows about going. He's an aggressive rider. Listen, they all have to break. So the assumption is they're going to break cleanly. And in protecting the rail, he's got to go. He's got to try to get in front, because the worst predicament to be in would be if he didn't go that quickly and Echo Town, let's say, who has a lot of speed, kind of got lapped on him and maybe a half length ahead. It's one thing to stalk outside a horse. It's another thing to chase inside of a horse. And I think it often will sap the horse's energy more. And this is something to get Richie to talk about more. But if you've got the rail, you've got to take control of that race. And I think that's what Tom wants to see. Whether he can do it or not remains to be seen.
5-2 on No Parole, the speedster from the rail. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
And I think that's exactly what Louis Sayers has on his mind. No Parole got the biggest warm-up of any of these horses. I mean, as soon as they turned back around in the post parade right in front of me here at the finish line, Louis said, giddy up and go, and galloped him all the way to the backside. Even got a good little sweat into him as well. So it's go time for No Parole. That's his only option, as Andy was alluding to, as number 2, Maru. I agree with what his trainer said. This guy has grown, he's gotten longer, he's gotten more athletic, and he's shown that he can rate and pounce. Troubled trip last time. He's very intriguing, but I'm with Jonathan. I love what I'm seeing from Shoplifted, Greg.
Well, that's 2 votes for Shoplifted. Make it 3, because that's where Richard Migliori is going as well.
Yeah, I just think the race is going to set up well for him on the turn back and coming from off the pace. That being said, just to expound on what Maggie said, the one, No Parole, when you see a rider leave the pony and warm up that aggressively, their intention usually is for that horse to leave the gate running. Having post 1, it simplifies things. If I've got post 1 with a horse with speed, I'm going and I'm letting all the other riders know they've got to adjust around me because I'm not taken back. And I think that's a psychological edge in some respects. Now, you have the 2 Steve Asmussen runners, the 4 Echo Town, who possesses speed. They're not a coupled entry. They're from the same barn. And then the outside horse, Shoplifted. Well, I think Echo Town can stalk, but I don't think he's going to allow anybody a free ride on the lead. So I think things are going to heat up. And Shoplifted from the outside is going to be the one running late. Is he fast enough? Is he good enough? Will he run out of racetrack? Those are all questions, but I think the pace dynamic, the way it looks on paper anyway, we know we don't run races on paper, kind of points him out to me. I was stuck, though. Echo Town, ridden by Ricardo Santana. That's Steve Asmussen's go-to guy. They talk about these horses, so that almost made me sway, but I'm going to stick with the 5 Shoplifted guys.
Richie, can we talk a little bit about what I was talking about with Greg earlier? If No Parole gets lapped on by Echo Town and ends up a little behind him but chasing from the inside, is that much tougher to do for a speed horse than stalking on the outside?
Oh, it's much tougher. They've got that pressure from the outside. They don't get in as good a smoother rhythm, as balanced. They don't breathe as well because they've got so much intense pressure. I think it's so much easier to be the outside speed in these positions because you get at least to get in a good rhythm and your horse framed up properly.
There he is, 5-2 on No Parole. Meanwhile, the favorite, that is the 3, Mischievous Alex, the Swale and Gotham winner.
I'm not surprised he's favored. I expect him to be favored. Did anybody think Echo Town would be the longest shot on the board, Greg? He was the morning line favorite.
He was the 9-5 morning line favorite, Echo Town. As for Mischievous Alex, of course, John Service, he had Smarty Jones back in 2004 when the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown ended with Longshot Birdstone ending that dream. He has designs on getting back to a Derby with that horse right there. But right now it's 7/8 for Mischievous Alex as he tries to win his 4th in a row. He is undefeated since adding blinkers back in early November. For John Service, Cash's King Stable, Kendrick Carmouche is back aboard. It's the Woody Stevens presented by Claiborne Farm on Fox Sports 1. Here's John Imbrial with the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. No Parole out for the lead from the inside post. And Meru is racing in second with Mischievous Alex next in third, then Echo Town and Shoplifted. They head up the backstretch in the Woody Stevens presented by Claiborne Farm. It is No Parole in front now by a length and a half with Meru giving chase in second, Mischievous Alex on the outside in third. It's a break of 2 to the 2 trailers, Echo Town and Shoplifted. In the opening quarter was run in 22 and 1/5 seconds. And the 3-year-old colts Race around the far turn. No Parole in front by a little more than a length. Mischievous Alex moving up on the outside now to take second. Mayru is back running in third. There goes Shoplifted now with a move on the extreme outside. And Echo Town rallies down at the rail. It's No Parole, Mischievous Alex, and Shoplifted. The three of them across the track for the lead as they come for the quarter pole. The half was run in 45 seconds. No Parole is still there. Shoplifted all out on the outside. And Mischievous Alex. It is No Parole trying to hang in there for another furlong. It's No Parole getting away now. No Parole's in front by 4. Then Shoplifted, Mischievous Alex, Echo Town, and Mayru. It's going to be a front-running score for No Parole in the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. The 7 furlongs in 1 minute, 21 and 2/5 seconds.
No Parole, Luis Saez did his job. Got to the front, a front-running Grade 1 win for trainer Tom Amoss.
Absolutely. Luis Saez broke sharply. 22-1 is not that fast on this racetrack for a horse of this quality. Echo Town did not show any of his early speed. Maybe it worked out for him because he ended up finishing second at least, because the horses that were trying to chase No Parole around the racetrack, they all came up dead empty. Maru had nothing. The number 3 Mischievous Alex made a real run in here. Shoplifted ran around the turn like he was going to blow by everybody, but he emptied out fast. And basically, Greg, this was No Parole and everybody else.
Mig, we thought there was going to be all this speed in the race, but to the aggressor, go the spoils in here with No Parole.
Aggression is good in racing, and Luis Saez did exactly what we all thought he would do, send this horse to the lead. I thought he'd have more pressure, but you don't want to fight off the ropes if you're No Parole. He brought them to the center of the ring and went toe-to-toe. He's fast, got the aggressive ride, and you see the result.
Gate to wire score. This horse is very good. First 3 wins of his career. The first 3 starts, they were against Louisiana breds. I think everyone discounted him a little bit, especially after he didn't perform at a mile and 16th in the Rebel. Sprinting is what he wants to do.
And I think I was not the only person that thought Tom Amoss was foolish to run this one and not Long Weekend. Well, Tom Amoss hasn't won as many races he's won by doing a lot of foolish things. And he was texting me earlier, and he said, you know, I'm worried the speed hasn't been good on the track. And I said, speed's fine. Don't worry about that. The biggest thing you've got going for you, Tom, is I don't think you have a chance today. So he just demolished the field. And listen, it's very nice to root for our friend Tom Amoss winning a race like this. And if you're going to lose as a gambler and handicapper, nice to lose to your good friends in big races.
Prestigious victory for the Tom Amoss barn. No Parole collects a Grade 1 win on the resume in 1:21.2. What a performance from the speedster. From that inside post, get to the front and keep on rolling. Woody Stevens to No Parole. We'll be back with more on America's Day at the Races next.
Eclipse champion Blame. Ranked among the top stallions of his crop, Blame has sired over 50 stakes horses. His recent top performers include Nadal, a $700,000 juvenile purchase and winner of the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, and Shotsky, winner of the Grade 2 Rimson Stakes, plus recent Grade 1 performers Mississippi, Alandra, and Natalma Stakes winner Abscon. Outstanding value, outstanding results. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date Sunday, June 21st. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
This is Edgar.
Hey.
Edgar loves betting on sports, but horse racing? That's a no. But these days, Edgar's found himself looking for a few more ways to win.
I do like more.
So he downloaded FanDuel Racing, the only app built specifically for fans who are new to betting horses. And with FanDuel Racing, Edgar can stream every race right from the comfort of his couch. And with a race starting every few minutes, it sure beats. Bet and watch the Belmont Stakes on FanDuel Racing. New users get 20-1 odds on any horse to win.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Belmont Stakes Day. We have our first of 4 Grade 1s in the books. And what a moment for Luis Saez. Remember, it was on the first leg of the Triple Crown last year. He got DQ'd out of a Kentucky Derby victory with maximum security.
But as you have to in this game, he put it behind him, and he continued to ride in top form throughout the year. And he's just had a great career, and he has a great career ahead of him. He's a sensational rider. And one thing about Luis Saez, if he's riding a speed horse, you can be confident that he's going to be aggressive.
Took advantage of it here on the very speedy No Parole, and this horse looks like he has quite a future in front of him as well. 5 wins now from 6 career starts. His only defeat was in a 1 1/16 on the sloppy track in the Rebel.
Yeah, no, he's not a real router, and Tom Ames understood that. You had to take a shot. You know, you've got a horse that's as impressive as he's been. It's Triple Crown season. You got to take your shot, and he did. But as soon as they realized that he wasn't going to be a true router, Tom cut him back in distances and pointed at races like the Woody Stevens. We hope to see him in the Alan Jerkins at Saratoga. Wherever we see him, this is a huge win for him and Tom Ames, and it makes up a little bit for that tough beat he took in our test with Serengeti Empress last year.
Speaking of Saratoga, stake schedule has come out. You're going to be able to see all these races this summer. Fox Sports and MSG Plus opening day, July 16th with the Schuylerville and the Peter Pan.
Yeah, it gets off in a big way. We've got right away the Grade 1 Cocheco American Oaks on the first weekend, Grade 1s throughout the weekends. It's going to be great to be in Saratoga. Greg, just 4 weeks from today, 26 days, I think.
Going to be a lot of fun, and we will be there for all of it. We hope you join us. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with winning rider Luis Saez aboard No Parole today. Well, your first ride aboard him, but you had your game plan. It was go time from the inside, Louis.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm so glad. Thank you for the interview. You know, I'm so glad to be in this horse. I always like this horse, and it's a blessed for me to be in this horse. He did it perfect. That was the game plan, and everything came so perfect.
Were you surprised that they left you alone as they did? I mean, 22 and change is pretty slow for this guy for an opening quarter.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you always want to slow the pace more as you can, and well, today it was the opportunity they let me, so we took it, and everything worked pretty good.
Well, Louis, congratulations. Big smile from ear to ear here with No Parole.
Yes, thank you so much, Maggie. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And Greg, wow, I mean, he had his game plan and it worked out. For everybody else, not so much.
It was surprising to us to see a big speed duel not develop, but Luis Saez was aggressive and it paid off.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen that so many times. It's the rider that is aggressive, that seizes the bull by the horns, as they say, that ends up being successful. We're about to see, Greg, another very talented speed horse return to the races.
We thought we had to wait a long time to finally see Indian Pride, but her debut, it looked like she maybe could have been the best of the Chad Brown 3-year-old fillies last year.
When she was a 2-year-old, Chad Brown said, "I've got a monster in my barn." And I rarely talk to him about unraced horses, and it took a long time, but she's the goods.
When we come back, Sole Volante, winner of the Sam F. Davis. We'll hear from owner Dean Reeves when we return on America's Day at the Races.
If your run-happy 2-year-old wins a maiden special weight at Belmont, Summer Meet, Saratoga, Del Mar, or Kentucky Downs, you shall receive a $100,000 bonus. Remember, win an extra $100,000 in 2020 when your run-happy 2-year-old wins a maiden special weight at Belmont, Summer Meet, Saratoga, Del Mar, or Kentucky Downs. Be happy and run happy.
Hello, you've reached the offices of West Point Thoroughbreds. Please leave your name and your number, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, starting to move now. He's fourth. He's on the outside now. He's pressing him now. There's the 1, the 7, and the 6. He's on the lead. There's another horse on the inside of him. He's pulling away. He's going to win this race.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track, Algorithms has sired over 70% winners from starters. His top runners include multiple stakes winner and Grade 3 victor Recruiting Ready, multiple stakes winner and graded stakes performer Taylor Spirit, and juvenile stakes winner South Bend. In the Pennsylvania Derby, Algorithms notched his first Grade 1 winner with a thrilling victory by Matt Wizard. In the ring, his juveniles sold up to $275,000. Algorithms, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $25 free play and up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Belmont25. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1 on Belmont Stakes Day. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, let's take a look at the updated odds for the 152nd running of the Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets. Tis the Law remains at 6-5 on the board. A horse that was 9-2 on the morning line. Soleil Volante, double-digit odds right now.
Yeah, I mean, he if the pace gets hot up front and things fall apart and the favorite doesn't run his race, Soleil Volante is as big a player as Soleil Volante as anybody in this race.
Well, we're joined right now by Dean Reeves of Reeves Thoroughbred Racing. He campaigns Soleil Volante in here. Dean, thank you for being with us here on this Belmont Stakes afternoon. You've been in this position before. A horse that you actually picked out, Mucho Macho Man, running all 3 legs of the Triple Crown back in 2011. What would it mean for you with all that we've gone through this year to win this Belmont Stakes?
Well, that's a pretty exciting Triple Crown race, and to win the Belmont, it's just one of those dream races that you hope to get to run in, and to be able to win a race like that, that's just pretty special.
Dean, you and your wife, Patty, I think quickly became enormous racing fans. What got you involved in horse racing?
You know, when I was younger, I went to 22 Kentucky Derbies in a row, and I always enjoyed the festivities, the horse racing. And then somehow, about 12 years ago, we met some folks that were already in horse racing, and we partnered up with them, and they showed us the ropes, and I just love it. And the next thing you knew, we were knee-deep in horse racing.
Dean, it's obvious that you love the game, and you're a fan of the game, just like you said. How difficult is it not being able to actually be here to watch your horse run live in person?
You know, it's really tough because you really enjoy seeing the other owners, the fans, and interacting with everybody. You got a beautiful day at Belmont today, and you just miss the excitement. It's a little bit easier, I think, when you're at home, not to get quite as excited, but we're going to have a big watch party, and hopefully we bring the same enthusiasm as if there was 100,000 people at Belmont.
Dean, he had an impressive win at Gulfstream. That was just 10 days ago. We don't see in this day and age a lot of horses come back, especially to a race of this magnitude that quickly. What went into that decision to bring him back in this race?
The biggest thing was the horse. I mean, when the horse comes out of a race as well as he did, and actually made the trip look pretty good. I mean, he did everything we wanted him to do. We wanted him to show us. And then, 10 days later, we galloped him on Monday. The horse said, let's do it. And Patrick and I talked about it with Andy, and we're going to roll the dice. So we think he's ready.
Well, we wish you all the best. He has been one of the big names here who has really put in some big performances. That Sam F. Davis win was something else. We'll be watching this afternoon. We wish you could be here, but we hope you enjoy it. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Dean Reeves. Yeah, it worked for Conquistador Cielo on a 5-day turnaround. He actually beat older horses 5 days later, wheeled back, and he won by 7+ lengths.
No, I agree. There's nothing that says that these horses can't come back on the short rest. And Patrick Biancone in 1983 won the Arc de Triomphe in France, the Canadian International up in Canada, and then the Washington, D.C. International, and then the Turf Classic at Aqueduct in about 6 or 7 weeks. 4 races, all grade 1s, 3 different countries. So if anyone knows how to do it, that would be Patrick Biancone.
Who actually bought this horse. He bought it for his daughter's birthday last year when she turned 22. He said if the horse brings less than $22,000, he's yours. Came right in at that number.
I also want to comment on, I saw Dean's wife Patty sort of in the background. Why did we get stuck with Dean? We should have had Patty on there.
Should have had them both on.
We should have had them both on. I agree.
Well, let's bring in Mig here. Mig, a name we don't see a lot at this big level, and Luca Panici is going to ride this horse. Connections stay with him in this big race. We also have some very young riders. Manny Franco, Raylu Gutierrez getting opportunities in this race as well. What does that mean for these young riders and guys who've not been on the stage before to get this opportunity?
Well, it's great to see them get the opportunity. Now, you talk about Manny Franco. He's in a little bit of a different situation. He's in more of a high-pressure situation because there's expectation. He's on the favorite. Tiz the Law is definitely the horse to beat. So he's looking for that clean trip. He's almost going to have to ride just a little bit defensively because other guys are going to try to, put him in a compromising position if they can within the boundaries of the rules. So Manny's got a little more pressure. Raylu Gutierrez, big long shot. He's there. He should enjoy it. He should, this is his first chance to get his feet wet on a big stage, and I think it's a kind of a good kind of an entry view for him, if you will. Luca Panici also has some expectation. I think Solo Volante is very live here, and he's shipping in, so he's coming into a new place. He's not as familiar with the surroundings, so he's going to have to kind of get here, get comfortable, and see his way. But he knows his horse, and I like when connections stick with a rider that knows the horse. I think they're taking the best of it with that for sure. Now, for me, when I was younger, I loved when all the big names would come in. We saw Lafitte Pink Eye win with Swale earlier, the Belmont, Shoemaker, those names. You, as a kid, you're a fan as well as a rider, so you just were enamored with all those big guns that would show up.
Well, Soleil Volante, a horse that would love to see a hot pace up front.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no question about it. And obviously, Tap It to Win is such a key to the race, right? Because he is the controlling speed, and he has the talent to win this race. But if he comes apart, it does open it up for the closers if the speed falls apart, but they still all have to beat.
That's a look at the Triple Crown schedule. Been altered, of course, due to coronavirus this year. Belmont kicks it off, then the first Saturday in September, the Kentucky Derby, October 3rd, the Preakness. Just getting back and racing, Andy, was so huge for New York to have a major sport back going again. What does this Belmont Stakes as a premier event mean to New York?
I think it means a lot. Obviously, we live in a bubble in the racetrack, and sometimes we all think in our own bubbles that we're the only ones that matter, and it's been huge for horse racing, but New York City as well. I mean, it's New York City, but it was also the epicenter of the coronavirus in America. So a lot of talk about that, and while there were some other tracks running, we got to get started in the beginning of June. We've had a sensational meet so far, but to have the first huge sporting event in the country, we're proud in New York. We're proud New Yorkers, and to have this race, the first big sporting event in America since the coronavirus started, is a huge, huge event.
Well, of course, Hall of Famer Bill Mott, we've been eyeing him on the cusp of history. One win away from 5,000 career victories. Among those 4,999 wins, a victory via DQ in last year's Kentucky Derby with Country House. We go to Acacia Courtney for more on Bill Mott chasing a historic number.
He is just one win away, and he does have 3 runners today at Belmont, as well as 3 chances at Churchill Downs. Of course, at Belmont, he has, in our featured race, Modernist trying to take the Belmont Stakes, so that certainly would be sweet, I'm sure, to win the Belmont Stakes and have that also be your 5,000th win. Bill has won the Belmont before, though. He took it in 2010 with Drosselmeyer, and while this is on the cusp of a tremendous milestone where we do often see sometimes connections be a little bit stuck on the edge there, he's a tremendous tremendous trainer no matter what. And Modernist has been doing well here at Belmont, and I feel like he has been perhaps a horse that's been a little bit overlooked. It's going to be a big test for him, but he did come out of the Louisiana Derby where he ran a good race from an outside post. He won the Risen Star 2 starts back, and one thing I've noticed about Modernist is that he tends to get a touch keen early on in his races. I wonder if he might be either showing some more maturity today, being a bit more settled, or he could be a little bit more forwardly placed. As I mentioned, 6 races in total where Bill could get 5,000, including Antoinette, Hidden Scroll, and Modernist today at Belmont. But that's not the only storylines that we do see in today's Belmont Stakes. There's more history to be made, and Maggie Wolfendale has more.
That's exactly right, Acacia. As Linda Rice is looking to become the first female trainer to win the Belmont Stakes, but it's as if kind of an afterthought for Linda, although obviously she's very pleased to be participating with Max Player today. But this is a woman who has won several New York training titles, including 2009, the Saratoga training title. So she has been on center stage throughout her career in New York here. And Max Player, son of Honor Code, well, he looks to have the goods, at least. He's been training lights out heading into this Belmont Stakes. I love the preparation Linda has put into him, too. With that break in racing from his win in the Withers, he is one who is putting in 6 furlong, 7 furlong, 5/8. She is putting the miles into Max Player to make sure he is ready for this 1 1/8 contest. And Greg, I bet he's thinking, or she's thinking, I should say, that she kind of wishes it may have been 1.5 miles, but not going to be the case this year. But a horse with a serious shot to bringing Linda Rice into the history books, Greg.
No question, she would be the first female trainer to win any race in the Triple Crown Series. And yeah, the fact that the Max Player wanted 1 1/8 so early in his career and gave his connections indications he'd love more ground, probably would have relished 1.5 miles, but they'll take this 1-turn 1 1/8.
We'll see. We've all heard about those Belmont horses, and they never seem to win. And I think that if you look at the way this 1 1/8 race is run, it helps closers because the paces tend to get much faster. So for a runner like Max Player, who not only is a deep closer, but also makes a big wide outside run, he was built for Belmont Park, and with a fast pace, I believe he'll get a chance to make his run. And I think he's a serious, serious threat in this race.
Well, we have 4 Grade 1s on the program. Obviously, everyone with all eyes on the Belmont Stakes, but we have 2 superstar fillies going head-to-head in this next allowance race here. 6.5 furlongs in this third at Belmont. 2 that were pinpointed for stardom before they ever set foot on a racetrack, including this one right here, the 1-2 favorite, Indian Pride for Chad Brown.
No, I agree. I do not think we should overlook the 7-horse Mrs Danvers, but Indian Pride has brilliant speed, and she was ultra impressive, winning her debut with a 90 Beyer speed figure. And Chad Brown, not really the way he usually does it, went right to a stake the next time, and she was favored that day. She ran well to be third. It was disappointing, but she also didn't break.
Broke dead last in that race, rushed up, and immediately put her in a blink, put herself right in front, and actually took the lead in that race.
No, she ran a second-time starter, blows the brakes, does that, and the horse who won the race, Bell's the One, well, if you've been watching our show over the last few weeks, she won a big stakes race at Churchill Downs, so she's no slouch at all. Indian Pride, I think her edge over Mrs. Danvers is, A, she's a year older, but B, her brilliant speed, Greg.
Going to be the first start back for Indian Pride since that Grade 2 Raven run in October. Let's go to Maggie for more.
And Greg, this paddock report brought to you by Run Happy. As Indian Pride, well, I do prefer her over her main opposition in here, and that is Mrs. Danvers. But Indian Pride, she is one who, once they got the tack on and the rider, she did what all good horses do. She puffed up. Now, as you guys were saying, she naturally took Johnny V to the lead after breaking poorly. She's on her toes today. She was a little obstreperous to get the tack on, but I wasn't in the paddock when she debuted at Saratoga, but it feels as though Connections knew she might be that way. It's kind of what she is in her character and her demeanor. So I'm not going to put too much stock into it. I'll keep an eye on her, as always, though, out on the racetrack, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. 1-2 favorite, Indian Pride, and of course the other filly that big things were expected of. There she is, that great daughter of Tapit, Mrs. Danvers, second start of her career, Saratoga last summer. She lived up to the billing.
She's the goods. This is a starting point for her, but a lot of us thought she was the best 2-year-old filly we saw last year.
Sea Sparkle long shot kicks off our post-parade 1 for 21 lifetime.
She'll try to show some early speed, and then she'll realize she's trying to run with Indian Pride.
Maiden Beauty, maybe the same story here.
Trainer trains to Bruce Brown, a horse that's run some decent races.
12-1. Dylan Davis will ride Maiden Beauty. Forever Changed 8-1 for Charlie Baker.
She's another horse that's been in good form. She hasn't run, though, in almost 9 months.
Well, it seems like everybody knew when Indian Pride finally made her debut late in her 3-year-old campaign. She was 3-5. She won by 8 lengths.
Yeah, this is a seriously talented and fast horse. I'm excited to see her on the racetrack, but I'm excited to see her facing the horse outside of her as well, Greg.
Yeah, Mrs. Danvers, when she won, broke her maiden at Saratoga last summer, she beat Finite, who would go on to win 5 straight. At one point during that streak, you could make the argument she was the best 3-year-old in the country for a while.
Yeah, and I really think Mrs. Danvers would be a player, and maybe Shug can get her the Kentucky Oaks. I'm sure he's thrilled that Kentucky Oaks got delayed. It's great to have her back. Now, it doesn't feel like she has the goods to beat Indian Pride Day, but I think Shug would be just happy with a very good showing, and we all would be.
Now, this is a look at the maiden victory from Mrs. Danvers. Again, she beat Finite in here for Steve Asmussen, who would go on to win a couple of Grade 2 performances after this.
Yeah, this was just a very talented runner, and she ran well in her debut. She didn't get out of the gate that cleanly in her first couple starts. I'm sure Shug's had time to work on her, and drawing an outside post will help her in that regard. This is a extremely good horse. I think her 82 buyer last year might have been about as fast a figure as we saw from any of the 2-year-old fillies throughout the year. She's got a real chance to win some Grade 1s as her career goes on.
She is the 2-1 second choice. There she is. But the favorite, Indian Pride, 2-5 on the board as we bring in Jonathan Kinchin. She, of course, is a half-sister to a couple of Canadian champions as well. There's a lot to like, JK, with this 4-year-old filly by Proud Citizen.
No, absolutely. Andy had mentioned it. There was the word around Saratoga is that she was a monster, and she just obviously had issues getting to the races, and then she's shown in her performances she's a monster as well. She's also been working really well. We talk about XBTV as a tool to be able to watch these horses work. She's been on a very strong work pattern, working with good horses in the Chad Brown barn. I feel like she's sitting on a big race. She's got tactical speed. Everything kind of lays out for her. But she does have a really, really talented filly to her outside in Mrs. Danvers. Mrs. Danvers ran a winning race on debut. She didn't win, but she ran a winning race that day after kind of missing the break and just had a lot of trouble that time. She was running extremely green, very inexperienced run there. But Shug's only 10% with first-time starters, so when a horse runs a winning race as a first-time starter, I think it shows the talent that's available for this horse. And then she confirmed that in her second race at Saratoga. I'm very excited to see her in this spot, and we're going to have a lot of fun watching both of these fillies throughout the year. Richie?
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm with you. I mean, we're treated in an allowance race on the Belmont Stakes undercard to 2 fillies that are stakes-bound, graded stakes destined for sure. And Indian Pride, super impressive, had excuses in her second start. But I like Mrs. Danvers a little bit more, only for this reason. And I'm not going to be surprised when Indian Pride, who does seem to possess more natural speed, outruns her, and maybe Mrs. Danvers can't catch her. But Mrs. Danvers, that first start was so impressive when she really got out of the gate in bad order, and I thought it was super impressive. Her second start was better. She ran that 82 buyer speed figure. I think the improvement from 2 to 3 could be much more dramatic than improvement from 3 to 4, which Indian Pride is doing. So I think that puts Mrs. Danvers a little bit closer to her, just getting that maturity standpoint.
I'm excited to see Mrs. Danvers back. It's funny with Indian Pride. A couple of years ago at Saratoga, Chad Brown had a super impressive debuter named Feedback. And I remember seeing Chad for the race, and I said, wow, she's like the best 2-year-old on the grounds. He said, I've got one in the barn that'll beat her by 5 lengths. And he was referring to Indian Pride. It took a long time, but she finally got the track, Richie.
Well, Andy, it's just so great to be able to see these kind of horses, a good 3-year-old against a good 4-year-old. And, we're fortunate as fans. Now, you brought up something earlier about no parole, and Tom Amos, his trainer, turning him back in distance, taking a shot, trying to find if he can go longer. And, when I was thinking about it, it's so much like you think about Olympic athletes. You wouldn't run Sebastian Coe 100 meters. He's a 1,500-meter specialist. You wouldn't run Usain Bolt 1,500 meters because he's a 100-meter specialist. It's the same thing with these horses. You can compare, like, No Parole to Usain Bolt, and let's say Tiz the Law with Sebastian Coe.
Well, it's a funny situation, though, in racing, Richie, and I think you know this well. There are more opportunities for more money in the route races, especially for the 3-year-olds. So you're inclined to want to try those races. The important thing is getting them back to doing the right thing quickly.
Well, a horse took, granted, it was against Louisiana-bred competition, talking about No Parole, but he won it a mile, and you got to take a chance to see what you have.
Absolutely. You have to be sure that you don't have a Triple Crown quality horse. And don't forget, when he was doing it, we didn't realize all the delays were going to happen. And also, as we all well know, sometimes it's not a trainer that makes all the calls, too. And I'm not saying that was the case there, but you have to keep your owners happy. And we all know well that one of the trainer's job is to look foolish sometimes for their owners. Not saying it was in this case, but that happens sometimes, Richie, as you well know.
Absolutely, Andy, and I know that. And believe me, I totally understand. You have to try when you have a good 3-year-old or a late developing 2-year-old turning 3 to take that shot to see if you have a Kentucky Derby horse. The strength of Tom Amoss is he recognized right away this horse's strength was turning back in distance.
Right. He is never going back to route races with No Parole, Richie. You're right. He knows that he has Usain Bolt in his barn, not a long-distance runner.
I think after that performance, you got to be thinking Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Sure.
Impressive win in that Grade 1 Woody Stevens. We have 2 emerging star fillies going head-to-head here next. Welcome to America's Day at the Races, and those just joining us on the Fox family of networks all across the country, and Fox Sports 1 as well. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling on Belmont Stakes Day for the first time in the history of this sport. We kick off the Triple Crown with the Belmont Stakes, a 1-turn, mile and an eighth, and Tiz the Law will be the heavy favorite.
Now, he will be, and deservingly will be the heavy favorite. He's a tremendous racehorse, 4 for 5 in his career. And Barclay Tagg, who had funny side for these connections 17 years ago, he's going to try to win a Triple Crown with 2 horses.
Our coverage takes you up to 3 Eastern time. Then we will be back at 6 to 7 Eastern time, so we hope you keep it with us all afternoon long. This is a look at Indian Pride, who was dominant in her debut, put into a Grade 2 in just the second start of her career. She's been off since that performance in October. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And that's never easy to do, Greg. Jumping off your maiden score as a late developing 3-year-old, or I should say a 3-year-old that got a later start to her career and into a graded stakes. And the winner of that race turned out to be a nice one in Bell's the One. But Indian Pride, as she comes back here for trainer Chad Brown, I was saying that she was a little agitated back in the paddock, but once she got out here on the racetrack and warmed up, she really threw those legs out in front of her and looked fantastic. Warming up. I think she is on to what we saw from her at Saratoga and picking up where she left off, as her main opposition is number 7, Mrs Danvers. Now, it is my personal preference. I like, fillies to carry that conditioning, to be well-rounded and throughout their hindquarters, and that's just not what I'm seeing from Mrs Danvers. It looks as though she needs to strengthen. I mean, it did take her 1 race to get going as well, and she was the beaten favorite that day at Saratoga. I'm wondering if, again, off this long layoff, if she's going to need a start. It looks as though she'll benefit from a race just to strengthen up across that top line and through those hindquarters, Greg.
Truly is a 2-horse race and 2 fillies that could be any kind. We can't wait to see them continue to progress in their career. I want to remind everyone as well, getting close to beginning at Churchill Downs. Horses are on the racetrack at Louisville for their opener on the card under the Twin Spires. They have a $20,000 maiden claiming event, 6.5 furlongs that will kick things off out there.
Yeah, I like the 11 Embellisher, who had a lot of chances, but not that many chances on the dirt. I thought it was between Embellisher, the 1 Epic West, and the 3 Suspect, Greg.
We'll get there momentarily. Right now, it's the 3rd from Belmont Park, the 6 Indian Pride, and the 7 Mrs Danvers. Big things possibly ahead for each of these 2 as they go head-to-head. We send it upstairs. John Imbrial with the call here from Belmont Park.
In the gate. And they're off. Indian Pride away well and going out for the lead with Sea Sparkle. It is Sea Sparkle in front here by a head. The big favorite, Indian Pride, on the outside in second. 3.5 lengths. Back to Forever Changed in third, then Mrs Danvers and Maiden Beauty. Sea Sparkle at the rail. The 2-5 favorite, Indian Pride, on the outside. And the two of them are right together going into the far turn after a quarter and 22 seconds. The front two have 4 lengths. On Forever Changed in third. Then it's Maiden Beauty and Mrs Danvers, who's at the back. Up front, it's still Sea Sparkle and Indian Pride. The two of them remain right together. It's almost 4 lengths to the other three. Mrs Danvers, Maiden Beauty, and Forever Changed. And now Mrs Danvers begins to pick it up. The half mile in 45 2/5 seconds. And Indian Pride has now taken over from Sea Sparkle. Indian Pride in front and clear by 3. Mrs Danvers moving up on the outside into second. And then it's Maiden Beauty and Sea Sparkle. Indian Pride with the lead, Mrs Danvers in second, and Indian Pride will do it as the prohibitive favorite. Indian Pride over Mrs Danvers, then Sea Sparkle and Maiden Beauty.
Indian Pride, easy time of things in her comeback performance here for Chad Brown.
She did, and she was an impressive winner as expected, but Mrs. Danvers got the right race, too. She ran very well to be second. These are two horses we're going to see in great stakes going forward, Greg.
No question. We head over to Churchill Downs, their opening race here. Coming up momentarily as they get set to load here. I want to remind everyone, you get signed up with Twin Spires, our new player bonus. Get you $25 in bonus bets. Use the code GET25 at twinspires.com or on the Twin Spires app. Play 25 to get your $25 in bonus bets right away. Jonathan Kinchin, your thoughts here on the opener.
It's not often you see a 4-1 favorite in here, but I like the 3 Suspect. The speed of the speed was involved in a fast pace last time.
Yeah, that was the first start of the 4-year-old campaign for the Son of Blame here. Hadn't raced since late August. Came back May 30th, Had the lead late in the stretch and perhaps needed that race. Second off the bench. You would think should be able to finish here in this $20,000 maiden claiming event. You're watching the home of racing from Churchill Downs here on Fox Sports as we go to Travis Stone with the opener here in Louisville.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Embellisher toward the outside is away well. Right the Wrong is coming on through. 2 Suspect is flashing some speed. Sigsman's not far behind. Epic West for that inside post grabs a forward spot 2. So down the back stretch, here's Suspect who comes on through to take over. It's Suspect in front. Right the Wrong second outside. Epic West on inside racing. Third Embellisher up to be 4th. Sigsman is back into 5th. You go on the outside advancing up into 6th. Conquistador Showdown inside. 7th Apple Empire is 8th. And then down inside's Judge Johnny running along in 9th. Flatten is 10th. Spelling Bee in 11th. And Boss Hugh goes at the back. So round the far turn. Suspect the leader. 3 furlongs to go. Right the Wrong getting closer on the outside. The opening quarter, 22 and 1/5 seconds. Embellisher coming up 3 wide. Epic West under pressure 4th and in behind. Hugo started to make some progress from the back with Flatten the field. It's the top of the stretch, the half and 45. Suspect turning for home, tenuous lead. Embellisher comes on outside. Here's Embellisher to the front. Embellisher taking over. Suspect tries to battle on. Farther back, Flatten down inside, trying to come on late for a share. Hugo's there outside, 100 yards left. Embellisher in front. Suspect keeps on battling, but is second best to Embellisher. Embellisher wins by 1. Suspect second. Hugo third. Flatten 4th.
Embellisher here with a win. 10th time out, breaks through for trainer Kenny McPeak.
But only his 4th career dirt start. I think that was important. Got the job done, and a very game Suspect who took some pressure holds on for second. 11-3-12, starting it out, Greg.
For a trainer who had one of the biggest upsets in Belmont Stakes history with Sarava.
That's right, $142. Beat Medagliadoro. Remarkable, never won again.
Remember watching that race with a friend, and they asked about that horse. I said that horse has absolutely no chance to win this race.
He had won a race 3 weeks earlier at Pimlico. When I was going down, I was working the Florida Stock Exchange then. All these people said, give us a horse. I said, a horse named Sarava, you can't lose. So he won. It wasn't a big price. And then when Belmont came, everybody said to me, oh, we're betting Sarava back. I said, he's got absolutely no chance. He's got no chance. Don't bet him. So
put him right in the winner's circle.
Done it before.
Indian Pride, this 4-year-old filly, again proving she has a bright future ahead.
Yeah, I mean, she did what she had to do. She was roused a little bit top of the stretch. The pace was reasonably quick. The track is playing reasonably quickly, but she was an impressive winner. But I'll tell you something, and she's very good. This was exactly the kind of effort I'm sure Shug McGay was hoping for with Mrs Danvers. He didn't expect to beat this favorite here. She's too good, and she has the experience and the speed. But Mrs Danvers delivered as well, Greg. Nice race.
And it's going to be interesting to see now where connections place Indian Pride off this performance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Chad Brown is thinking the ballerina, which is up in Saratoga at some point. I don't know exactly when. He's also got that very talented Guarana, and I think she could go to a stake race at Churchill. There's a grade 1, I believe. I'm not sure, at Keeneland. So we'll see what happens. They may have to meet up there. And Mrs. Danvers, I don't know if Shug can get her ready for the coaching club, but I'm sure he's thinking about the big races.
Up next, another graded stakes race, the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. 1 mile on the turf, and Decorated Invader had an impossibly tough trip. In last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, was only beat a length and a half in the end of things. Came back, won the Cutler Bay at Gulfstream impressively. He is 1-5 as a monster favorite in the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. Next, here on America's Day at the Races.
Nobody wants to fall into a safety net, but when adversity or hardship presents itself, it beats the alternative. Since 1943, the Jockey Club Safety Net Foundation has been serving those individuals and families in need across every facet of the thoroughbred industry. Help us continue to be the safety net and catch those most in need. Visit tjcfoundation.org to learn more.
Adrenaline pumping, hearts racing, the thrill of winning. And it all happens right here. Twin Spires, from the team behind the Kentucky Derby and the destination for horse racing wagering from around the globe. From beginner to expert, Twin Spires is betting made fun and easy. And for new players, once you place your first $25 worth of bets, we'll match that in bonus bets. Twin Spires, racing into your home. Download the app now. See site for details. Void where prohibited. Please wager responsibly.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1 and the Fox family of networks here on Belmont Stakes Day. Good to be with you. Of course, on opening day of the Belmont meet, the New York Jockey Colony took a knee in the paddock in support of those across the country protesting racial injustice. Jockey Raylu Gutierrez said horse racing supports all ethnicities. It does not matter what color or religion you are. What matters in horse racing is that we are one. Back at Churchill Downs, their card underway, and embellisher with the victory here. 10th time out, Jonathan Kinchin breaks through, gets the first win of this 4-year-old's career for Kenny McPeak.
Yeah, he was he raced 9 times prior to that and hadn't got the job done, but got the setup that he needed and just kept rolling down the middle of the track. Suspect fought hard, was the speed, a horse you might want to look at betting back, but there's no doubt that Embellisher was best today.
11-3, 12 finish, 4-1 on Embellisher, owned by Stone Lee Farm. 4-year-old son of gemologist with the victory to kick off action in Louisville. The second race at Churchill, mile and a 16th, conditioned $10,000 claiming race. 3-year-olds and up who have never won 3 or who are 3-year-olds. Roaring Fork is the current favorite for Peter Miller.
Yeah, he ran well last time in a speed duel, very similar to Suspect in the last race. Was involved in a pretty quick pace, an honest pace, prevailed in there. Let's see if he can do it from the rail in here.
All right, more on the second from Churchill. When we come back, we're going to step aside for a short timeout. Still to come, the main event later on this afternoon as we kick off the first leg of the Triple Crown. Mark Casse, inducted or elected into the Hall of Fame this year here in the U.S. Already is in the Canadian Hall of Fame, looking to win his 3rd straight in the Triple Crown Series with Tapit to win. We'll be back.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date Sunday, June 21st. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
Orb, winner of the Kentucky Derby and Florida Derby. His runners have scored on both dirt and turf. His recent stakes success includes Mrs. Orb, winner of the Bay Ridge Stakes at Aqueduct, Pippin Stakes victress Whoa Nelly, and Derlou, a determined runner-up in the Grade 3 La Cañada Stakes at Santa Anita. Classic winner, classic pedigree, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
A live bid of $775,000 was not high enough to buy this uber-fast son of Run Happy at the OBS 2-year-old sale June 10th. I can't wait to write the owner a check for $100,000 when he graduates with a maiden special weight win at Belmont, Saratoga, Del Mar, Kentucky Downs Summer Meet. Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
I was born inside this Delta. When you win, that's taking command close to home. Win, you win.
They come down to the wire, and Minute to Stardom upsets them at 20-1.
Let your light shine through. Gotta get in, it's a winner. All the world's been waiting on you.
Sir Winston comes up on the outside, and he got in front of War of Will. And Sir Winston has moved to the center of the track under Joel Rosario to take the lead. On the inside, Jovia fights on. Tacitus is there, and then Tax between horses. Master Fencer on the far outside. They're coming to the finish, and Sir Winston has won the Belmont Stakes.
What a year it was in 2019 for Mark Casse. He took the final 2/3 of the Triple Crown and the less heralded stablemate, Sir Winston, behind a beautiful ride from Joel Rosario taking the Belmont Stakes.
I have to think that was in Linda Rice's mind when she got him to ride Max Player, because I didn't think anybody would give as good a ride as Gary Stevens gave Victory Gallop when he won the Belmont, but Joel's was as good a ride as you could possibly give, especially on that racetrack.
So the Preakness with War of Will, the Belmont with Sir Winston, and now Mark Casse a chance to win 3 consecutive races in the Triple Crown Series as we send it to Acacia Courtney.
And Greg, he was just elected to the Hall of Fame this year, so it certainly has been a good stretch for Mark Casse, and that seems to continue. As Mark has said to me on several occasions, he likes to run. He likes to be involved in those big races, and you can imagine that's a thought process with a horse like Tap It to Win, who is one of the keys to this race with his early speed, but he's coming out of a win here at Belmont just 16 days ago, so a pretty quick turnaround for this horse. But I saw him 2 starts back at Gulfstream Park when he had cut back in distance to sprinting. And while I thought that distance at 6 furlongs that day might have been a touch short for him, it did seem to me like he really appreciated being back at 1 turn. So stretching out last time to the 1 turn, a 1.125 in the Belmont today, 1 turn. He's one of these horses in this field that's really going to benefit from the different distances here as a 1-turn race, and with his early speed down to the inside, he's going to be sending early, I would imagine, from that inside post, but the distance should certainly be to his liking. As I'm here outside Mark's barn, he doesn't have the Belmont Park sign on the outside of the barn, but Sir Winston's stall webbing proudly displayed inside the barn office. Greg.
Acacia, thank you very much. Yeah, this horse is going to be out in front on the lead. He was brilliant that opening week of this Belmont meeting. Jamie Bigg, assistant trainer for Mark Casse, says training even better now coming out of that win than he was going into it.
Coming back on short rest, bringing them back when they're good. Mark Casse believes in it, and it's worked for a lot of trainers, and it's worked for him as well.
It worked for him last year, certainly, with Got Stormy off a week's layoff. Came back and she beat the boys in a Grade 1 of the 4-star, Dave. Here is Tap It to Win. His speed makes him dangerous. The fact that he loves this racetrack, just a couple of ticks off the track record in that performance back on June 4th. He's dangerous.
He figures to be the horse to catch and beat in the front end. Can he come back and duplicate that performance or even build on it, because he may need to?
Galloped out strong as well, so the 1 1/8 connections and John Velasquez believe should not be a problem. We heard from Dean Reeves with Soleil Volante. Patrick B. and Cone trains, winner of the Sam F. Davis.
This race comes apart. He is as likely and probably more likely than any horse in the field to pick up the pieces.
Currently 9-2 for Reeves Thoroughbred Racing. Max Player, 1 1/8 winner of the Grade 3 Withers in just the 3rd start of his career for Linda Rice.
Making his first start in 4.5 months. We'll see if he needs more conditioning, but a fast pace around 1 turn at Belmont Park should suit this late closer.
Hall of Famer Bill Mott, of course, DQ'd into a victory in last year's Kentucky Derby with Country House. He sends out Modernist, who, by all reports, is training lights out in the morning.
He's a horse who's achieved a lot in a short time and could always improve for this barn, but he needs to take a big step forward.
Junior Alvarado will be in the irons for Mott as he looks for number 5,000 in his career as a trainer. Meanwhile, Farmington Road, one of a couple of horses in the race for trainer Todd Pletcher. Javier Castellano aboard.
A deep closer like Soleil Volante, he's just not quite as good as that one.
He ran against Nadal in the Arkansas Derby. Can he come up with better with these sweeping, at least one of them, wide turns here at Belmont Park?
Suits his running style.
4 left, bringing more pace to the party here for Doug O'Neill.
Doug O'Neill's on a free roll because he was originally going to run in the Woody Stevens. Well, he wasn't beating the winner of the Woody Stevens, so it doesn't matter what happens here. He's on a free roll.
30-1 on the morning line. The son of Twirling Candy just ran in Dubai back in early February. Should be trying to tackle Tap It to Win early on. Jungle Runner, huge long shot here for Steve Asmussen, gives the young Raylu Gutierrez a chance in a Triple Crown race.
Love to see Raylu do well. This horse, he's going to be overbet because it's a Triple Crown race. He's going to have to take a gigantic leap to even hit the superfecta.
The target is on Tiz the Law's back. Most who've tackled him have not fared too well. He has been brilliant. He has a perfect 2020 campaign going.
That's the fastest race of anybody in here, and he's clearly the most accomplished runner in here. And the way Barclay Tagg trains, you have to believe he is going to run his best career race today.
Same connections that brought you Funny Side, took the first 2/3 of the Triple Crown back in 2003. Dr. Post, this is the other Todd Pletcher runner, and he comes off a stakes win in the Unbridled.
He didn't run as quickly from a speed figure standpoint in his 3rd start, but he overcame trouble to win, and he did it around 2 turns. So there are things to like about this horse for a trainer who knows how to do well in the Belmont.
And we heard so much in February, March, April about the very improving Pneumatic, who started out his career 2 for 2 at Oaklawn. He was just third in the Grade 3 Matt win to Maxfield.
And he was beaten a length and 3/4 to Maxfield. He did some dirty work towards the front end. Maxfield would have been a clear-cut second choice had he been running in this race. Unfortunately, he's not. But Pneumatic at a huge price. There are worse horses at big long shots to take a chance with.
That is your field for the 152nd running of the Belmont Stakes, presented by Naira Bets. Time for selections. Mig, where are you going to wind up?
I am going to wind up on the favorite, Tiz the Law, not only because I'm a New York bred and he's a New York bred. I just think he's the most talented colt in the race. And he's a horse that's very tactical. Manny Franco can get the position he needs and strike when he wants to. Maggie, I think it's Tiz the Law's race to lose.
Hey, Meg, I'm a Maryland bred, and I love this New York bred. And the love affair started back on August 8th when he broke his maiden impressively. He's been my horse throughout this interrupted 3-year-old campaign, and I'm going to stick with him. I love the way he's been training up to this affair, too, for Barkley Tag. Well, JK, are you going to make it 8's wild here?
I'm going to. I am. I'm going to go with the home team, the New York bred. If you're looking to bet this race, I would bet a $25 double with the Jaipur, with the 6-horse Hidden Scroll into the 8 Tiz the Law, or you can play a $25 exacta with the 8 Tiz the Law with Pneumatic, the 10-horse running second. That's how I would try to make some money there. Acacia, how about you?
Well, I'm sticking with the theme. I'm on Tiz the Law as well. As Maggie said, since he debuted at Saratoga, he's been such a striking horse. I had the benefit of seeing him over the winter in Florida, and he's just continued to get better. He looks better than I've ever seen him here in the mornings here at Belmont. Andy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I like Tiz the Law, too, but I do think Max Player has a chance to upset him. With my $25 free wager, I'm going to make a $5 exacta box, 3-8, Max Player and Tiz the Law both ways, and then I'm going to press with the remaining $15, an 8-3 exacta. Tiz the Law is the one to beat. I hope he isn't carrying too much weight. He clearly is on this show.
Seems like he is. I like Tiz the Law as well. I think he's impossible not to root for. Like you, though, I think there's another horse that's intriguing. I think Tap It to Win has a big chance to steal the show this afternoon, but I'm going with Tiz the Law. He's been the best of this bunch so far. We'll see if he keeps it going.
Win or lose, isn't there a good argument that Tap It to Win is the second likeliest winner of this race because of his speed?
Well, up next, it is the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. Decorated Invader for trainer Christophe Clement, known by West Point Thoroughbreds. A heavy favorite. He's 1-2 on the board. Coming off a victory in the Cutler Bay, he's looking for the second graded stakes win of his career. Can he get it done? In the Pennine Ridge, it's up next on America's Day at the Races.
Whether you like it hearty, hot and spicy, smooth and creamy, or loaded with veggie flavor, the Petaluma Creamery offers the highest quality 100% organic, non-GMO cheese money can buy. Made with the utmost respect for our happy cows and the land they roam free. Visit SpringHillCheese.com and shop our extensive line of delicious cheeses and dairy products. Pick your favorites and we'll ship them right to your front door. Petaluma Creamery, the best dairy products come from the happiest cows.
Now is the perfect time to sign up for Naira Bets as we get set for the Belmont Stakes. New members get a $25 free play immediately after sign up. Plus, you can take advantage of up to a $200 deposit match after that first deposit with the promo code Belmont25. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to NairaBets.com. Get your account ready for the Belmont Stakes. Just a couple of hours away with that promo code Belmont25. Grade 2 Pennine Ridge coming up next, and a heavy favorite in Decorated Invader. Time for a paddock report brought to you by Run Happy. We head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll start off with your prohibitive favorite in this Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. That is the Rail Runner, number 1, Decorated Invader, owned by West Point Thoroughbreds, trained by Christophe Clement. He would have been, well, nearly perfect if it wasn't for his debut and for a absolutely horrific trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And he's the kind of horse that when you look at him, you know you're looking at a special horse. Just the air he gives off. And 2, wow, he's done so well from 2 to 3. It's the first time I'm seeing him as a 3-year-old. He's grown, he's filled out, he has this like big cresty neck now, these really round hindquarters. He is going to be tough in here. I do notice that he does wear glue-on shoes, so a lot of times you see these turf horses that have those kind of shellier feet, really flat, so a lot of times you do see them having more foot issues. So something to think about though with those glue-on shoes is number 7 Famished. He actually has the most recent race of any of these, participating in that allowance race, which was won by Belmont Stakes contender Tap It to Win, but he returns to the turf. He's only had 3 tries on it, and they were okay. I mean, I don't think he's a win candidate here, but I think it's interesting him coming back off the somewhat short rest because he's actually looks as though he's put on weight coming out of that race back here on June 4th. I love the conditioning he's carrying. He is one that does keep those front bandages on for this turf effort here, something that he has done in the past. But I think he's just kind of intriguing, hinting at the fact that he came out of that race in really good shape. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. 1-2 favorite. All the money on Decorated Invader. Went into that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf as one of the favorites, one of the horses to beat, and there's no way he was going to win with that trip.
No, he had a terrible trip and ran very well in there. No argument with that, and he's the horse to beat in here. A 1-turn mile in the Widener suits his running style. He's the horse to beat. He is dramatically overbet at 1-2. It's not like he's running these incredible races. He got a super fast pace to close into last time out. And I think he's got a real rival from Mark Casse in the 3 proven strategies, Greg. I mean, this horse, he's coming into his own, right? Isn't he just improving with every start? He's probably going to be stalking the number 5 Vanzy, who on paper appears to be the speed, but he has the speed. And I think a speed is the kind of horse that can beat a Decorated Invader, right? You don't want a horse coming from behind to try to beat him. I think you want to beat him from in front of him. And I think his chief rival, Proven Strategies, is a big overlay right now at his current 4-1.
Yeah, Decorated Invader's going to have to run him down, and he ran very well. Had the lead in the stretch against Decorated Invader stablemate Guffaw, who's run races that are on par right there with Decorated Invader.
I'm with you. I'm wondering if he didn't run Guffaw in here because he didn't want to run him against Decorated Invader because he didn't want to maybe beat him.
4-5 now. As we check in at Churchill on Roaring Fork. We're in Louisville here, mile and 16th, condition $10,000 claiming event. Reminder, get signed up started with Twin Spires. Use that promo code GET25 to get your $25 in bonus bets at twinspires.com or on the Twin Spires app. Andy, who are you liking here?
I'm going to try to beat the favorite with a 6 Darren's Fortune and box 6-7 in the exacta. Lagoon Macaroon. That's a great name, isn't it?
I've become a recent fan of macaroons. Big part of my diet.
Where have you been the rest of your life?
I don't know what I was missing. But Tom Amoss, thank you for that. Yeah, the suit's not fitting quite as well. Now, Tom Amoss sending out Napoleon's Empire was the morning line favorite. Right now, 3-1 on the board on the 3. Roaring Fork, the one to beat from the inside post. Here's Travis Stone with the call.
They're in the gate, and they're off. Good beginning for Napoleon's Empire. Come on, Venezuela, driven hard to the front, and Roaring Fork is sent through from that inside post, too, and these two hook up early. Come on, Venezuela, outside, Roaring Fork inside, into the clubhouse, turn together. Darren's Fortune comes away racing third, angles over toward the inside. 4 lengths back to Lagoon. Macaroon racing in fourth in the early stages. Napoleon's Empire's down inside fifth. Then it's home for the weekend. Paint Your Eggs is last early and is already 10 lengths off the lead. The opening quarter 23-3. Roaring Fork wins that early battle and secures control for the backstretch run. Come on, Venezuela with that forward position, second on the outside. Darren's Fortune is tucked away third at the rail as they back down this pace. Lagoon Macaroon races up to be fourth, and then it's Napoleon's Empire down inside fifth. Home for the weekend, angles outside sixth. Paint Your Eggs to the far outside, moves up into seventh. There's a half mile to go. Roaring Fork 48 3/5 for the opening 4 furlongs. Leads by half a length with just outside of 3 furlongs to go. Come on, Venezuela's getting closer on the outside, and here he comes with a bid, and these two match strides once again. Darren's Fortunes right in behind, racing third for the final quarter mile. Lagoon Macaroon's under pressure in fourth, so too home for the weekend, making progress though fifth. Napoleon's Empire's back in sixth, top of the stretch. Roaring Fork comes off the turn, puts away Come on Venezuela, but has to fend off Darren's Fortune. Darren's Fortune has worked out a good trip and pounces on the leader with a furlong to go. Darren's Fortune to the front. Roaring Fork gives way back into second. Good battle for third, but not for first as Darren's Fortune scores by 3. Roaring Fork has to settle for second. Paint Your Eggs was third. Lagoon Macaroon was fourth.
Darren's Fortune against this group was dominant today.
No, I agree. He got a great ride by Miguel Mena, and I think that one of the keys in here was that the one didn't break that sharply, Roaring Fork. And in doing so, it enabled the 5 Come Venezuela and Florent Giroux to engage him early. So he didn't have that comfortable, easy lead, and a lot because of the break. And Miguel Mena got the perfect position and ran him down.
Back at Belmont, post-parade here for the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge Mile on the turf. And here is the horse to beat, owned by West Point Thoroughbreds, trained by Christophe Clement, Decorated Invader.
He's a very, very talented horse who's been getting better with each start. He is absolutely the horse to beat, though over bet at 1-2.
Venezuelan Hug for trainer Danny Gargan. He has put together back-to-back victories on the turf. This is a big step up, though.
I wanted the story on the name. Yeah, this is a considerably tougher field than his last race, but he has improved since Danny Gargan claimed him by a lot.
Son of Constitution, as is, of course, 'tis the law. He's 9-1 on the board. Proven strategies, trained by Marquesi, Jose Ortiz aboard.
I think this horse is the bet if he stays at his current 7-2 odds. He's got the speed to either be in front or be stalking, and he gets the jump on Decorated Invader. He's an improving and talented racehorse.
Next, we'll see a New York-bred son of shaking it up here, Mr. Kringle for John Terranova.
He's looking for a chimney to come down, Mr. Kringle. The Tampa Bay form, those horses in Tampa weren't bad that he ran against, but they're not as good as what he's facing today.
Double-digit odds, coming off back-to-back seconds, including a stakes race at Tampa. Here's the 5, Vanzi Michael Pino.
He's an interesting wild card. His dam did produce one turf winner, and she was a turf horse herself. He's a far better synthetic runner than a dirt runner, so perhaps he could transfer that form, and you know he's going to have speed with Kendrick. I think he's a little bit dangerous at a price.
He'll be in front, could be far in front. Here is famished John Kimmel, Irad Ortiz Jr.
I'm hungry for him to cut back in distance and run back on the dirt. I think 7 furlongs in the dirt's what he really wants, but his turf races are okay.
13-1 on the son of Uncle Mo as we check in with Jonathan.
Yeah, the one Decorated Invader, a very deserving favorite here. He has, you know, it's kind of cheeky to say that he could easily be undefeated. He's run 2 races that he lost where he ran huge in those races, especially the Breeders' Cup. It's one of the worst trips you'll ever see a horse get. I think he's just better. He's down on the inside. He should be able to save ground on the turn, and he should be able to be dangerous in here. But I'm really interested in the 7 Famished. I remember up at Saratoga, the word kind of started to get out that he was working well on the turf. I believe he was working with a horse by the name of Cristal, who was a stakes winner at Saratoga. And I just kind of started to get excited about seeing him do that. And then he's run into some really good horses on the turf. Vitalogy, Field Pass, Structor, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf winner. So he's run into good horses. I just feel like Famish is way too big of a price. I think Decorated Invader is going to win, but I would definitely use Famished underneath, and I think he's worth a small win bet at 13-1. Richie, I know that you've got a nice connection with the Kimmel barn. What do you think about Famished today?
Yeah, I really liked him as a 2-year-old, Jonathan. I watched him train on the turf, and he gave me every indication that that was where his future would be. At least I thought so. Broke his maiden on the dirt. What I don't like is just the bouncing back and forth between two surfaces. I think sometimes you confuse a young horse. I think you got to make a plan and stick with it. He's getting back to the turf now after going back to the dirt. And at some point, you got to kind of show a horse what you want from them and not confuse them as much. But Famish certainly trained like a good horse on the turf as a 2-year-old. And I'd like to get Maggie's opinion on what he looked like as far as a turf confirmation.
Meg, I've always thought that Famish was more of a turf horse, to be honest. So I'm very intrigued with what I'm seeing from him today and in this position. I too think Decorated Invader is the horse, well, is the likeliest winner, I should say, as we'll check in with the 2 horses that should provide the early pace, and that includes number 3, Proven Strategies. Watching the replay of his English Channel effort, I was impressed. He did get to set the pace that day. He was probably just beaten by a better horse, but he battled all the way. He put away every challenger until Gouffo came far on the outside, in which he didn't see him. So it was a valiant performance, but also horses at Gulfstream with some early speed are often advantageous. So I'm not sure that this configuration, while he is posted towards the inside, will be to his liking. Furthermore, he just hasn't taken that big step forward from 2 to 3. Number 5, Vanzi, he has speed too. He has a turf hoof. This guy, a lot of angle to his pastern as well. I think he'll like the surface. It's just a shame it's not an easier spot for him to try the turf for the first time. Really well conditioned, really carrying his weight and his muscle mass well, dappled head to toe. Acacia, what are your thoughts here on this Pennine Ridge?
Well, Maggie, Decorated Invader, I agree, should be the likely winner in here, but I wanted to share something that Joel Rosario had told me after his last race in the Cutler Bay. Might have noticed in that replay, he went pretty wide. He had to close, and he did have an outside post that day, but he's a very big horse, and that was why he didn't get out of the gate perhaps as smoothly last time. Jonathan mentioned him being able to save ground today. That's one of Joel's best attributes, is his patience, and Joel told me last time, given his size, he wanted to be patient with him and keep him in the clear. That's not what happened to him in the Breeders' Cup last time, or 2 starts back, where he ran into all that trouble trying to go between horses, Greg.
Well, yeah, I mean, he hit the gate in that last start. Still had to circle the field and did it no problem.
He did, and he ran fine. He got a very fast pace, though, to close into. And the third-place finisher, Get Smokin', ran remarkably well because he dueled and ran off with another horse who finished nowhere. The horse to beat is Decorated Invader on the inside, but he's way overbet at 2 to 5. He's just not that good. And this wider turf course is kind to a horse's running style. I picked him on top. I probably shouldn't have. I never imagined he'd be this short a price because, Greg, I think he's got a serious rival in the 3 Proven Strategies.
A horse who's going to be well in front of him, going to be maybe right behind Vanzi, if not right there with him.
I think the plan for Jose Ortiz is to come out of the gate running. If Vanzi goes, as it probably should and probably will, you let Vanzi go, and then you just sort of stalk outside of him. Now, Proven Strategy's already proven that he can run effectively, rating 3 back. He had a big win when he stalked. And the thing I like about Proven Strategies is each of his last 4 races have been faster from a speed figure perspective. He's getting better and better, and that's what you want to see. I think he has the right tactical advantage of Decorated Invader. Do I think he's a more likely winner? No, of course he isn't, Greg, but look at the difference in odds.
He faced Decorated Invader, by the way, back in their 2-year-old campaign in the Group 1 Summer Stakes at Woodbine. As you mentioned, with Proven Strategies, he's developing, he's improving. Decorated Invader took a big step forward, too, with that last race.
He did. No, I'm not standing here telling you I think the 3 is going to beat the 1. But this game is not about picking winners. It's trying to find value. And the value on the 3, in my opinion, at 7 to 2 is much, much greater than it is on the 1 at 2 to 5. I think they're probably supposed to be around 4 to 5 or even money and 5 to 2 or to 2 to 1, something like that. I bet a 3-1 exacta. That's what I did, a big 3-1 exacta, and I made a small 3-5 exacta box in case the 5 likes the turf, and it's the old 2-speed number.
And there is Kendrick Carmouche on Vanzi. You would think going to try and steal this thing the way he's run a couple of times on synthetic, and he's been forwardly placed in just about every race of his career. Last few starts, so there's pretty slow fractions he got to get away with.
He did. I mean, he's had the run of those races, but I don't particularly believe this theory, but a lot of people will tell you that synthetics are more like turf, that they are much more like turf than dirt. A lot of turf horses will take to the synthetic. I think they're 3 separate surfaces. However, with his pedigree, he's supposed to handle the grass, and he's uncompetitive basically on the dirt and significantly better on synthetic. So there is a reasonable chance he can transfer that kind of synthetic form to the turf. The problem is he's still got to improve to beat this field. But I still think at 14-1, he's not the most ridiculous horse, especially because he figures to be the main speed.
And meanwhile, as for Jonathan's pick, Famished, doesn't impress you. Famished ran decent against Structure, your Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf winner.
I think Structure's one of the weaker Breeders' Cup winners we've ever seen. I'm not knocking him, and I wish Jonathan the best of luck. He's a big price. I don't like him, but I'm not knocking other people who take long shots in here. I honestly think he's a better dirt horse, and he will be better going shorter.
He's 11-1 right now, Famished from the outside post. As we get set for more graded stakes action here on Belmont Stakes Day in Elmont, New York. Loading up, and there's the heavy favorite for West Point Thoroughbreds. Odds on the 1. Decorated Invader, looking for the 2nd graded stakes win of his career. We send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call. Here's John Imbrial.
Waiting for Vanzi and Famished. They're in the gate. And they're off. And it is Proven Strategies who is going out for the early lead. Vanzi is racing in second. Down on the inside is the big favorite, Decorated Invader. Then on the outside, Famished. In between horses, the gray, Venezuelan Hug. And trailing the field is Mr. Kringle in 6th. Proven Strategies by a half length. Vanzi pressing that pace on the outside in 2nd. It's a length to Decorated Invader, who's down at the rail in 3rd through a quarter. 23 4/5 seconds as the field races up the backstretch. Proven Strategies, the leader by 3/4 of a length. Vanzi is on the outside in 2nd. And then it's Decorated Invader, still in 3rd. Right now about 3 lengths off the lead. On the outside, it's Famished, then Venezuelan Hug, and Mr. Kringle. It is still Proven Strategies who shows the way after a half in 47-2. Proven Strategies now by a length and a half. Vanzi and Decorated Invader are heads apart 2nd and 3rd. Famished is running in 4th. Venezuelan Hug has gone to the extreme outside. Mr. Kringle is the trailer. There's room on the inside, and there goes Decorated Invader now up to challenge Proven Strategies for the lead as the pace quickens here. 3/4 in 1:10 Proven Strategies on the outside and Decorated Invader at the rail. Decorated Invader has now taken over. Proven Strategies in 2nd. Mr. Kringle has moved into 3rd. It's Decorated Invader who draws away in the stretch, and Decorated Invader has won the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge Stakes by 5 lengths at the end. Pace setter Proven Strategies was 2nd. Then Mr. Kringle and Vanzi.
Decorated Invader, give him a 2nd graded stakes win as that fence opened up for him along the rail.
Yeah, and because of the slow pace, and he was going to win whatever the circumstances were, I'm not making excuses, but because of slow pace, Joel Rosario said, I'm not going to let this horse just walk and be back in last. He got good position right in the pocket behind him, and he came inside, and Jose thought, oh, good, I got him right where I want him. The only problem was, at the end of the day, Decorated Emperor is just too good for these horses.
Well, Mig, Jose Ortiz tried to take it to him early on Proven Strategies, but Decorated Invader just too good.
Too good and too brave, and a brilliant ride by Joel Rosario. This was very, very tight around the turn. I hope we can get ahead on at least the Stewart shot at some point, because he actually had us change to his right lead. You're going to see him take a little stutter step in here. He's tight against the fence. You see back there, he almost bounced back and forth. A lot of young horses would have backed out at that point. He kept going forward. This horse showed a different dimension. He elongated his run because of the slow pace. Joel Rosario knew that there wasn't a lot of pace on, and he forced the issue. This horse showed a whole nother dimension today. Not only was he brave, but he changed his tactics. I think this was really, really impressive for those reasons.
Yeah, we've never seen him involved as early as he was in a race as he was today.
Yeah, he's obviously tractable and getting himself into the race because the pace was slow. Hey, listen, I thought he was overbet at 3-5. At the end of the day, he wasn't. He won like a 3-5 should.
Well, Andy, I think you made great points about looking for value, but if Joel Rosario had gone backwards getting position, he wouldn't have been in a position when the opportunity presented itself around the turn to go forward. The fact that he got his position going forward out of the gate, he broke cleanly today, but I think this horse showed the most maturity he's shown so far, and this was a big step forward.
Now look just how tight things got here down on the inside for the big favorite.
Yeah, and I don't think that Joel Rosario wanted to make that move. And in a perfect world, Joel would have been able to sort of angle out and go to the outside, because you put yourself in a situation, sometimes the horses get intimidated on the inside, but as it turned out, Joel just knew he had the best horse, and he decided to make that run. He was very impressive today, and I think he beat a very good horse in Proven Strategies who had the absolute run of the race. So this is a strong performance by an improving horse for Christophe.
Decorated Invader impresses in the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. 1:33.3 final time for the mile distance here as he rolls right on by Proven Strategies. 1:3.4 finish in the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. Joel Rosario with a big win on Belmont Stakes Day.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify!
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, Grade 2 winner Sharp Samurai, international star Shamal Nibras, graded stakes performers Uncapped and Sweet Sammy D, and Bal Harbor, runner-up in the Grade 1 Woodward Stakes. His 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First, Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the races on Belmont Stakes Day here in Elmont, New York on Fox Sports 1. West Point Thoroughbred Silks in the winner's circle in the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge. They have a good one in this 3-year-old son of Declaration of War. Decorated Invader picks up the second graded stakes win of his career for Christophe Clement as we head downstairs to Maggie.
And here with trainer Christophe Clement, Greg, as Decorated Invader, Christophe, I mean, he showed his dominance in this Pennine Ridge, and it looked as though, at least from our perspective, that he took a giant leap forward today in his performance.
Well, I'm not so sure, because I've always liked him since day one, and I think he's been a tremendous horse since the beginning. Even in his loss, I thought these races were good races, such as the Breeders' Cup. But I mean, I'm delighted. He won very well. He was much the best, and life is good.
Well, today as well, he broke sharply, and Joel very bravely went up the rail. Talk about the ride that Joel gave him today.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty aggressive, to tell you the truth. But, you know, when you win by 3 or 4 on the bridle, you cannot complain. And that's why he's Joel Rosario.
That is very true. And pure sensation coming up in the Grade 1 Jaipur, the 9-year-old coming back. He doesn't have to deal with his stablemate disco partner. Talk about this guy coming back. How cool is it to have a horse like this in the barn?
So he's been a wonderful horse. You know, he was running in stakes as a 2-year-old in Saratoga. I know he was running in stakes as a 2-year-old. He ran first time out in Saratoga. And so he lasted all these many years. Is he still at his best? I don't know. He looks great. He's training well. You always have to have a little bit of a question mark when you're that old, and we'll see how he runs. But to look at, he's exciting.
Well, the 9-year-old, 7 seasons here, kicking it off in the Grade 1 Jaipur. Best of luck, but congratulations with Decorated Invader, Christoph.
Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun.
Well, Greg, he doesn't usually get that excited, but you could see the big smile he was wearing with this performance from Decorated Invader.
Yeah, no question. I think he has a lot to be excited about with the rest of the year as well, with what this 3-year-old could potentially do. Mig, let's take a look again at the ride that Joel Rosario gave the son of Declaration of War.
It's just so difficult. When you're in behind horses like this is a tight spot. The horse in the lead, he took a look back and he spread the fence, but when he sees him, he's going to try to come back down on top. Now, you see a lot of young horses, they would get intimidated in that spot. This is such a big horse. He's about 1,200 pounds, and he just basically said, no, excuse me, and he kicked sand on the other guy at the beach. You could see he's still leaning on him, and he was not having any of it. I'm so impressed with this. We always knew he had ability. But today he showed that he can overcome adversity. He showed a toughness that you want to see good horses show, and he shows he possesses that now, Greg.
I'm not, Richie, I'm going to somewhat disagree. I don't know how much adversity he really overcame. I think he refused to get intimidated down on the inside. No, I know, but not great adversity. He's a very good horse, but I wouldn't call this great adversity.
And have you ever come through a spot like that on a young horse?
Richie, don't pull that jockey stuff
on
me.
He was in so tight at one point.
He's had
you got to
5,
be
6
kidding
races.
me.
He's a terrific horse, but if that's adversity, I've gotten some of the most ridiculous trips of all time in my life on horses that have had trouble that
last time he hit the
worse.
gate, you said that wasn't adversity. He had a fast pace. Today, he came through a tight spot when he could have been intimidated, so he still hasn't overcome adversity.
Richie, this is we could debate this another time. I'm not saying he had the most perfect of trips, and he was way the best, but you know this wasn't a huge amount of trouble.
I'm super impressed with this effort on a lot of levels.
Decorated Invader rolls in the Pennine Ridge. We have a post parade, meanwhile, in progress at Churchill Downs. We're taking a look at attorney Tim, Greg Foley. I'm glad you guys are separated today, by the way.
Listen, I'm sorry, Richard, I don't get a chance to argue more on the show.
I knew there was a reason we kept you guys on separate sets.
I have the most respect in the world for Richie's opinion, but sometimes we see things differently.
Buy Me Candy was a maiden winner on turf at the fairgrounds back in March.
Yeah, this looks like a decidedly more difficult spot.
Here's Mantra. Miguel Mena aboard.
Yeah, well, it does have some turf race at Gulfstream. I just wonder how much those Gulfstream good form will be repeated. Sorry.
22-1 on King Theo. Corey Lannery just went by, and here's El Ahijado for Sal Guerrero.
Looks to be overmatched.
73-1 is 0 for 11.
I can't bet unless I get at least 76-1, Greg.
We'll see. You may,
limit.
In fact, get
I think
there
I will.
By post time. We'll keep an eye on it. On a Rock, Tom Proctor and Tyler Bays aboard.
Improved at Tampa, but this is a tougher spot, but not impossible.
Where's Oliver? Ian Wilkes, Chris Landeros team up.
A question they'll be asking at the finish.
It's not high praise for Where's Oliver. He was 8-1 on the morning line. Hell or High Water? James Graham, Darren Miller.
It's a good movie. Did you like that movie? Cuts back in distance from his last turf race. He may want more distance.
Yeah, 6-1 right now. James Graham will be aboard. Moon over Miami, taking play. 5-1 right now. Blinkers going on, Belmont.
Yeah, blinkers going on because they want him more forwardly placed. This horse has gotten ridiculous trips in turf races. I guarantee you Jonathan Kinchin is very interested in this horse.
Going to hear from J.K. in a moment. Hackberry moving to the barn of Jack Sisterson had been on the West Coast.
I didn't think it was totally impossible, but, you know, sometimes that good West Coast form, I don't know if it gets repeated in the East.
And our current favorite, getting an aggressive warm-up right here for Chad Brown, Shadwell Stable, son of Union Rags.
It's interesting. This horse does not have much turf pedigree, but Chad Brown did tell me that he worked extremely well on the grass.
He is favored right now. He's going to be drawn all the way to the outside as we take a look at Bantu, who gets into this race 63-1. Currently, Declan Cannon.
Yeah, there's a reason he's 63-1.
Time now for our market mover. Twin Spires market mover identifies the horse attracting the most support late in the wagering. Jonathan, where are you going?
Well, I think the market mover in this race is going to be the 12 Motagali, who's taking all that money. It's Chad Brown. It's a turf race. But I think it's an interesting fact is that this horse ran well. He's never tried the turf. He ran well in an off-the-turf race to suggest that maybe the dirt was going to work out for him, and Chad is still putting him back on the grass. I expect him to run a big race. And to Andy's point of Moon over Miami, I agree. A terrible trip not a terrible trip, a significant trip last time. And also, it was raining extremely hard. It was soft turf, and now he's going to get a more firm ground to run on, so there's an opportunity for him to improve. He puts the blinkers on, and I'm going to just throw this out there and let you guys chase after it. He ran against Decorated Invader last time. I don't know if there was any adversity in that trip or not. I'll let you guys handle it.
Don't bring that up again.
Well, I think that, yes, Moon River Miami had a much tougher trip last time than the Decorated Invader had. I like that Jonathan brought up a really great point. This was a turf course that was labeled firm last time, but it was not. I mean, it really had a lot of give in it, and it's much firmer right now. I'm glad he brought that up. Listen, I picked the first two winners at Churchill and didn't bet either one of them. Now I'm betting. I bet on Moon over Miami. I boxed him with the 12. I made a 12-10 extra press, so you know the 10 can't win here, Greg.
Well, if you want to bet the market mover or anybody else coming up in this race, Twin Spires are offering you $25 in bonus bets. Sign up with the code GET25 at twinspires.com or on the Twin Spires app. You got to play 25 to get 25 of your bonus bets right away. Those watching on FS1, you can hop over to FS2. We'll see you there next. We're also back on at 6 Eastern time. So we continue along here on Belmont Stakes Day as we get set to kick off horse racing's Triple Crown for the first time in the history of this sport. That will be the Belmont Stakes to begin the series. A one-turn mile and an eighth. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Sherling. We've seen some great performances already today. The Grade 1 Woody Stevens, Decorated Invader, of course, wins the Pennine Ridge. And now we have some more intriguing races still ahead. Of course, the big one still to come. 'Tis the Law. All of us on the show have gone with the favorite.
We have, and I think there's a lot of weight for the poor horse to carry, but you're right, Greg. We've seen some brilliant performances, and we're just getting started with a lot of stakes action to go. And I'll tell you something to really add that's cool about this Belmont. The Belmont is scheduled off right around 5:45. A summer officially starts at 5:44 as they're going in the gate for the Belmont.
Yeah, you texted me that earlier today. I love that. What a way to kick off summer with a Triple Crown. That was a look at the current odds. Even money right now on 'Tis the Law. I think there is a chance we see 4 to 5.
You know, these big races that I think if it was an allowance race on a Thursday, he'd probably be 4 to 5. But somehow these big races, I mean, you see the Jungle Warriors, that's his name, he's 20 to 1. He should be 80 to 1 in this race, maybe even bigger. So they tend to overbet some longer priced horses and underbet the favorites. But I agree, Greg, he's supposed to be an overwhelming favorite.
Meanwhile, third here at Churchill, as you can see, they're loading up. Mile and an eighth on the turf. First level allowance condition. And Motagali for Chad Brown getting on the turf here for the first time in career start number 7. There he is, the 12, the son of Union Rags. Of course, was a Belmont Stakes winner himself. For Shadwell Stable here, Tyler Gaffleone rides. We send it to Travis Stone for the call, race 3, Churchill.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Hackberry bobbled coming out of the starting gate and is off to the back of the pack. King Theo from mid-pack is away well. El Ahijado is there too. Motagali down toward the hedge is By Me Kendi. So by us the first time, By Me Kendi comes on through to take the lead almost by default. King Theo content to move with that one, but they're not going particularly fast early on. El Ahijado comes on to be third. Mantra's down inside fourth. Montegali comes away fifth. Anarak is covered up inside, while sixth. Bantu racing 7-3 wide into the clubhouse turn. Moon over Miami drops back to be eighth. Attorney Tim is down inside ninth. Then it's Heller High Water running along in 10th. Hackberry 11th, and at the back is Where's Oliver. It's about 12 lengths from top to bottom, the opening quarter in 23-3. On to the back stretch they go. Buy Me Candy and King Theo. Matching strides down the backstretch run. They're in front by 3. Mantra's tracking them from third. Trying to get a little bit closer for the run to the far turn. Motagali advancing in between. El Ahijado is there on the outside, racing fifth. Anarak is bottled up inside sixth. 4 lengths to make up from there. Moon over Miami finds a seam and comes on through from between horses. Bantu's finding stride as well while wide. Heller High Water within 8 lengths of the lead as they round the far turn and race for the top of the stretch. Buy Me Candy and King Theo head and head for the lead. Mantra pops outside with a bid. Bantu's very wide off the turn. Motagali switches out too. Anarak saved every step of ground. Heller High Water's coming down the crown of the course. There's 1 furlong to go. Buy Me Candy and King Theo still there and battling into that final 1/8 of a mile. Moon over Miami's weaving through the pack and switches outside. Mantra's there too. Heller High Water down to the wire. Buy Me Candy trying to hold Moon over Miami. Moon over Miami for Belmont by a length on the wire. Buy Me Candy was second. Attorney Tim was third. It's tight for fourth.
There it is, career win number 5,000 for a Hall of Famer Belmont, just the 7th in the history of the sport to reach that number.
He would like to have done it in the Belmont Stakes with Modernists, but I'm sure that Bill was very happy to have quietly got that 5,000th win at Churchill Downs. And this horse really ran for Joe Talamo because the pace totally held together, Greg, up front. And Moon over Miami, Joe Talamo, who's really picked up his riding lately, he weaved between horses, looked like he might get in tight at the 8th pole, and he found that seam and he blew to a victory. Nice win, nice ride.
Now what are we going to talk about on the show?
No, we got another. We got to tell Bill. Bill, 6,000.
That's the watch that starts now.
He's ancient news now. We don't have to talk about Bill. And congratulations to Bill Mott. It's, it feels like we've been talking about it for a long time, and it almost feels like we were jinxing him. But a great trainer, an amazing career, and it's just still going on.
What a moment. Had his first winner saddled at the age of just 15 at the now defunct Park Jefferson in his native South Dakota. Of course, theatrical, one of 6 individual champions that he's trained in his career. He has accomplished all you could imagine in this game, including last year a Kentucky Derby victory that he got via disqualification with Country House.
Yeah, but disqualification, I'm sure he's been disqualified at big wins before, maybe not as big. And, he upset the 2010 Belmont Stakes with Drosselmeyer. And one thing through Bill's career, he's shown patience and the ability to improve horses as they get older. And Moon over Miami, who broke his maiden impressively on our Cigar Mile card, he had run sneaky well with trips, real trips, Richie, in his last 2 races on the turf.
Well, I will point out, Andy, this horse does come out of the Cutler Bay that Decorated Invader won at Gulfstream, but I'll digress for a moment. I'm very happy for Bill Mott. Big congratulations to him. And, it's ironic to me that this horse was ridden by Joe Talamo, who was in a slump, kind of got off to a tough start at Churchill Downs. We talked about it. He's really come out of it, and he delivered an absolutely beautiful ride today to give Bill Mott his 5,000. Think about that number, guys. 5,000th career victory for a trainer.
Well, he's known for a couple of different numbers. 45, of course, the youngest trainer in the history inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then he's known for 16 as well. That was a win streak for Cigar. Now we're going to know him for this number as well.
Yeah, and we'll know him for more numbers. So should we start the 5,010 count now for poor Bill? Let's leave him alone for a while. I got a feeling if we're around long enough doing this show, we'll be talking about 6,000 for him.
He's done it all in his Hall of Fame career. What a moment. Moon over Miami. Remember that for your trivia question. Who gave him number 5,000?
Oh, I won't forget. I bet there was.
The race is still ahead, presented by Claiborne. We'll bring you the 5th from Belmont. And again, we're back at 6 Eastern time. We'll have races 11 and 12 to close out this card. And from Churchill, races 4 and 5 still to come. And that 11th from Louisville as well. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale as we get set for a paddock report here for the 5th.
And as always, brought to you by Run Happy, this paddock report, as we'll check in with the horse taking some early money. And that is number 5 in here, Oh Trouble, for Tony Dutrow, who trained his sire in Trouble. This guy comes back after debuting behind Tap It to Win. And Tap It to Win that day debuted on that Travers undercard. And as a lot has been said about the rail being dead, but that's not my area of expertise. This guy, he was 3 wide most of the way. So it looks as though he just kind of got tired, but then again, he has been away from the races, so maybe something happened out of that effort. Now, he comes back going the 7/8 here, which I actually like for him. He's kind of a tall, lankier type of individual, very laid back, so it's not as if, you know, he's expending too much energy coming back off the layoff. I just wish actually he was showing a little more energy. I mean, he is almost just kind of dull acting, almost listless in here in the paddock. So we'll see what he does. At a short price, I'd be willing to look elsewhere, but I suppose he's working very well. As number 5, the Angry Man comes back for a 3-year-old debut as well. He was out sprinted at first in that debut, in which he was wired by his stablemate and Trash Talker. I'm wondering if this guy does have a little bit more of early pace to him, because he's built more of a sprinting type. You know, he's smaller, shorter coupled. He looks pretty fit heading back into here. I don't know if I love him first off the bat, but I think he'll run better, or at least improve upon that first career effort. Moving on to number 7, Rare Stripe. He debuted behind Dr. Post. So this maiden special weight, littered with horses that were won by Belmont Stakes contenders, as this guy was slammed by either side coming out of the gates. And I still thought ran okay as he'll make his first start for Jack Sisterson. I like what I'm seeing from this horse. I think, again, the 7 furlongs is perfect. He's fit. He's intriguing. We'll see. Jack hasn't had that as much success as you would like to see, though, shipping in here to New York. As Greg, they're making their way around the walking ring.
Well, that was the morning line favorite, Rare Stripe. Second time out for Jack Sisterson. He's 7-2 on the board. There it is. Congratulations to one of the all-time greats in the history of this sport. Number 5,000 with Moon Over Miami, winning back in the 3rd at Churchill. A lot on this young man's mind. The biggest moment of his career still to come. Manny Franco will ride the favorite in the Belmont Stakes with his mount on Tis the Law for Barkley Tag and Sakatoga Stable. Stay with us.
Flatter. This prolific son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. He's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. His yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row and sold up to $900,000 at Keeneland September. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date Sunday, June 21st. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
This is Edgar.
Hey.
Edgar loves betting on sports, but horse racing? That's a no. But these days, Edgar's found himself looking for a few more ways to win. I do like more. So he downloaded FanDuel Racing, the only app built specifically for fans who are new to betting horses. And with FanDuel Racing, Edgar can stream every race right from the comfort of his couch. And with a race starting every few minutes, it sure beats. Bet and watch the Belmont Stakes on FanDuel Racing. New users get 20-to-1 odds on any horse to win.
We are back on Belmont Stakes Day, getting set later this afternoon for the first leg of horse racing's Triple Crown, first time ever. That will be the Belmont Stakes, our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, historic victory for one of the best ever in this game. Hall of Famer Bill Mott, the 5,000th victory in his training career, just the 7th in the history of North American racing to reach that number.
It's an incredible achievement. I mean, it's hard to really quantify it. I mean, you can, but how long has Bill been training? Let's say it's 40 years. That's 125 wins every single year. That's 2 a week. It's a lot harder than it sounds to win like that as a trainer. Remarkable achievement by a great trainer.
Back at Belmont, this begins the Empire 6. It's 7 furlongs on the main track. Everyone looking for that first win of their career in this field. We start with Muda Camille for Chad Brown and Chadwell Stable.
Can this horse bounce back from his last effort, which is terrible? His race 2 back gives him a chance, but he's had an awful lot of chances for a trainer that usually doesn't need them.
Yeah, beat it 4-5 last start. Oh, trouble. Well, he faced Tap It to win, and we're going to see in the Belmont later. The second place finisher, Complexifier, would win his next 2.
Maggie alluded to the fact this horse was wide. Tap It to win was on the rail, and the rail was bad that day. But he still ran a big figure as a 2-year-old. If he shows routine improvement, he's just the horse to beat.
Island Man, first time out, midshipman colt.
Found a very tough spot for his first start.
Uncle Ned, 29 to 1. He puts blinkers on.
This is a very tough spot for a horse that was claimed for 30,000 2 starts back.
5 horse could certainly improve. The Angry Man, second time out for Dermot Magner.
Yeah, he actually ran well in the contest of the race last time because he's the only horse that was making up ground in a race that was dominated on the front end.
Luis Saez will be back aboard. He was on board for that debut. Shadow Boat, Jorge Duarte sends out the son of Bernardini.
I think he's being disregarded the second-time starter. He was betting his first start, and he had a trip. I think he's the kind of horse that will benefit greatly from his debut in a race where the pace pretty much held together.
Rare Stripe. He faced Dr. Post first time out, who will be in the Belmont later today for Todd Pletcher.
He's my top choice, Rare Stripe. His first race was a good education for him, and I think he'll improve as he switches from the great Hall of Famer Shug McGay to a trainer, Jack Sisterson, who's been doing a fabulous job.
And a first-timer, son of a Kentucky Derby winner for Todd Pletcher, Happy Saver.
Not an easy spot, but this horse is taking some money.
Get signed up, play along with Naira Bets. New members get a $25 free play immediately after sign-up, plus you can take advantage of up to a $200 deposit match after that first deposit. Use that promo code Belmont25 to take advantage. Naira Bets, of course, the official betting site of the Belmont Stakes. Go to nairabets.com. Use that promo code Belmont25 at sign up. There's the first-time starter for trainer Todd Pletcher. Let's go to Acacia Courtney for more.
And Greg, Todd Pletcher looking for his 4th Belmont Stakes. He last won it in 2017 with Taprit. He has 2 in here with Dr. Post and Farmington Road. And I am more familiar, of course, with Dr. Post, having seen his last couple of races. Broke his maiden impressively from an outside post. Really overcame a lot that day, but I thought he overcame even more in the Unbridled Stakes last time out, where he did not have an easy trip at all and was very, very tenacious to get the win that day. Coming out of that race, I thought he could be a legitimate 3-year-old contender, as I admit I was a touch hesitant about him coming into it. Not a tremendous size of the field, but he showed a lot of grit that day. One thing I did notice from him was that he was a bit keyed up, a little bit keen on the track before the race, so I'll be curious to see how he does handle himself this afternoon as he goes from post 10, going a little bit longer distance, and they have that long run coming out when braking for this 1.125 distance at Belmont Park. As far as Farmington Road, he doesn't have a lot of speed, and Todd Pletcher saying that he probably would have benefited from having the 1.5 miles this year, but he does have a couple of races that would make him a little bit of a player. Could be potentially a live long shot, but we'll have to step forward today. But Todd Pletcher, he knows how to win the Belmont Stakes, and he's got a 1-2 punch this year, Greg.
Yeah, not just 3 wins, I believe 5 seconds as well for Todd Pletcher in the Belmont Stakes.
He really has had a brilliance in the Belmont Stakes. And if I was going to say one person was adversely affected by the race going from 1.5 miles to 1.1 miles, I'd say it's Todd Pletcher, because he's shown an incredible brilliance with the right horse he's pulled, because he's not doing it. You think Todd Pletcher, you think, oh, sure, they were all regally bred, short-priced horses. And that's simply not the case. He had some very, very big overachieving horses do well in the Belmont. He's been brilliant.
If we could go inside the mind of that young man right there, Manny Franco, he will have the mount on the Belmont Stakes favorite, Tis the Law. Look at what he has done the last few years on this circuit, and he is more than held his own. He's one of the top riders out here.
He is, and he's a really wonderful guy, and he rides terrifically, and I'm so thrilled to see him get this chance.
Coming off a win on the Aqueduct riding title. Mig, big moment on the big stage for Manny Franco coming up.
Big moment on the big stage, and he's more than ready for it. He's built to this. I've always felt he's just as talented as Irad Ortiz, Jose Ortiz. They all came out of the Puerto Rican jockey school that does such a great job. They put out a great product, very well schooled. He's handled by Angel Cordero Jr., one of the greatest riders of all time. So, you know, they've had conversations, and he certainly has learned at the foot of the master, if you will. You know, I'm watching him warm up horses, and he's riding all day, and that's a good thing. You want to be busy. You want to stay busy. You want to stay focused. Keep your head in the game, and don't be sitting around waiting, anticipating, you know, that you ride the favorite in the Belmont Stakes. So I think that's good for his, you know, mental comfort. I think he's just got to pay attention to Tap It to Win. Hope that 4 Left keeps him company early, and then he's got to make a decision on how his horse is traveling when 4 Left starts to fall away, which I do think he will someplace around the far turn. Does he attack immediately or run the risk of giving Johnny Velasquez a chance to give Tap It to Win a little bit of a breather there? A little bit of tactics are going to go on there, but I'm sure Manny's got a lot of confidence in his horse, Maggie.
Well, I'm sure he does, being aboard him in the afternoons and in the mornings as well. And Jose Ortiz said something interesting to me yesterday when I interviewed him. He said, you know, this year is actually going to be easier for us riders with the distance change because we ride 1.1 miles a lot more frequently than we do 1.5 miles here at Belmont Park. So, and two, with the lack of spectators, you know, I think a lot of the nerves are probably not there that you would usually see on a Belmont Stakes day traditionally. As we'll take a look at Manny's horse in here, that's number 6, Shadow Boat. Interesting pedigree on this one. Son of Bernardini, and out of a dam called Silk and Sapphire, which makes him a half to Shared Account, who is the dam of Sharing, who ran a valiant second in the Coronation Stakes at Ascot this morning. So a little interesting pedigree note there with number 6, Shadow Boat. I wonder if turf is down the line for him. He kind of looks like it a bit, but we'll give him a look here, as he's a very handsome son of Bernardini, and I like the fact that, well, he gets an extra half furlong, after which was a kind of green effort first time out. As number 8 is Happy Saver. He'll debut. Todd Pletcher all over this one's pedigree. Trained Super Saver to a Derby win and trained the Dam, though she has not produced much. Very professional horse. Was underwhelmed when he first started his warm-up, but Irad Ortiz took him away from the pony. Warmed up much better once he got a good gallop into him. Debuts at the right spot. Seems like a laid-back customer with this big swinging walk. One thing I always like to see with these firsters. Meg?
Yeah, Maggie, I love when you see the riders take them away from the ponies and give them that good warm-up. But, you know, it's nice to see all these well-bred horses. And we usually have that on Belmont Stakes Day, you know, where everybody's trying to put their best foot forward and present the sport. And this year it's even more special because, guys, we got racing back in New York.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's honestly, as we celebrate this game, and we celebrate sports, we celebrate the Triple Crown. That's the most important thing, that we have an opportunity to have any form of a Triple Crown this year with all we've been through.
Absolutely, and to have racing back and all the people that work so hard in the backstretch, getting racing going. You know, I feel it every night, Greg, because I'm so used to going home from Belmont and looking at whatever PPs are in front of me and putting on a baseball game, right? And there's no baseball to watch, so to have horse racing is a real blessing.
We don't even know if there's going to be a season this year
they need
in
to get their
baseball.
act
It's
together.
in jeopardy right now. Jonathan, the Empire 6, it begins right here in this race. Your thoughts on the 5th?
Yeah, I like the 2-0 Trouble, not so much because he ran against Tap It to Win, but because he ran a fast figure in August as a 2-year-old, and that's good enough for me to expect some kind of improvement here. And then with the 8 Happy Saver, I will say this about this horse. He's got a nice, comfy outside draw for a first-time starter. And the other thing is watching XBTV, where you can watch these horses work out in the morning and train with one another. He worked with a horse by the name of Fearless that we've seen on this show during the last few months. A very talented horse, and I think that says a lot about this horse's talent as well. But for me, the 2-0 Trouble.
We'll see if he can improve off that debut effort. And that was in late August at Saratoga, and that was a loaded field.
Yeah, no question about it. I don't want to take a short price on this one from this barn, but he is dangerous. I like the 7 Rare Stripe in here, who I think really needed his debut. We'll see if that race is strong as the figure suggested. I played doubles into the number 3 Highland Glory, who I like in the 6th race. I used the 1 Muka, the 6 Shadow Boat, and the 7 Rare Stripe, and then I pressed the 7 Rare Stripe. So I'm going to try to beat the favorite while using the second choice. Could be favorable.
And even though he's 5-1, Muta Camille, Chad Brown, Chadwell stable, the 1 would not be a surprise.
No, the only problem with him is he's had so many chances, but he ran a race 2 back that would make him very tough in here. He was awful last time. Something had to go wrong. I don't trust him. I don't want to let him beat me, though.
They're almost all loaded up. There's the first-time starter, son of a Kentucky Derby winner for Todd Pletcher, Super Saver. That's Happy Saver as he moves in. We send it upstairs to John Imbrial for the call. Race 5 from Belmont.
And they're off. Happy Saver away well from the outside. Now Oh Trouble moves up. Oh Trouble pokes ahead in front. Happy Saver is right there in second. Just in behind, it's the Angry Man in third, and alongside Shadow Boat. Shadow Boat and the Angry Man heads apart third and fourth. They've got 2.5 lengths on a Rare Stripe, who's in fifth. Down on the inside is Muta Camille in sixth. Island Man runs in 7th, and Uncle Ned trails the field in 8th. The opening quarter mile in 22 and 3/5 seconds as they head into the far turn. And it's Oh Trouble, now clear by 3/4 of a length. Happy Saver, first-time starter on the outside in second. The Angry Man and Shadow Boat, their heads apart third and fourth. Muta Camille has gotten closer, and on his outside it is Rare Stripe. Half mile 45 and 2. Oh Trouble, Happy Saver, they are right together as they come for the quarter pole. Oh Trouble on the inside, Happy Saver on the outside. Happy Saver on the outside of Oh Trouble. Oh Trouble on the inside, Happy Saver. The two of them continue to battle it out with a furlong to the finish. Happy Saver's now in front. Oh Trouble is back running in second. Muta Camille with a late run, and the Angry Man. But Happy Saver is going to win first time out under Erod Ortiz Jr. And it's a photo for second between the Angry Man, Oh Trouble, and Muta Camille.
Happy Saver, son of a Kentucky Derby winner that won it for Todd Pletcher. First time out, a winner.
With a slower pace, this horse ran almost as fast as they ran the Woody Stevens earlier today in his debut. And there were some nice horses behind him, and Happy Saver just laid a hurt on this field. This is a very impressive firster. He broke sharply. Erod Ortiz looked over his shoulder. They like to look over about 50 times. Usually when a jockey does that, the horses seem to come up empty. Not Happy Saver.
No Parole, 121 and 2. Happy Saver, 121 and 2. Fractions of a difference.
Yeah, this is an extremely impressive horse. I mean, you know, Todd Pletcher's, it's a little late, so he's not going to go into a race in all likelihood like the Alan Jerkins off of a maiden win, but he's got to be thinking bigger and better things. What a performance. Wow.
How about that, Mig? First time out. Very impressive here for Todd Pletcher.
Very impressive, very professional, and what struck me is just how long his stride is. You could just see he doesn't have a typical sprinter stride. He showed sprinter type speed, but he's got more of a stride that makes you feel like he'll go on, he'll go further. So impressive. He came under the wire, flipping his ears back and forth a little bit. This was really a wow performance.
Keep your eyes on that one down the line. Happy Saver, have a inkling we're going to see him at Saratoga.
Well, we're going to see him in Saratoga. We're going to see him in Stakes. That is a runner. Man, that was exciting.
Todd Pletcher picked the wrong race?
No, he's a maiden. Todd's probably thinking, I wish I had been able to break his maiden earlier, and I could have been in the Woody Stevens, the Alan Jerkins. But, you know, there's a lot. You need to be a lot patient to be a trainer.
Fourth at Churchill Downs. It's a maiden special weight, 3/4 of a mile. Norma Jean B., first time out, daughter of Tapiture.
Yeah, one of a number of first in year. A couple horses from this dam actually ran pretty well. She's taking some money for these low-profile connections.
Spidey Sherrill, trained by Dallas Stewart, showed speed last start. Wound up fourth.
I'm surprised this horse is taking as much money as she is. I thought that she was in tough.
Al Stahl sends out a firster by Fast Anna, Partylicious.
Al's very dangerous trainer, dangerous firster, but not taking much money.
Strong bullet drill coming into this one from Movie Moxie for Eddie Keneally.
Word must be out in this firster because he is bet.
9-5 favorite from a 3-1 morning line on this filly by Street Sense. Tough Bird. Norm Cassie sends out Blinkers go on.
If at first and second you don't succeed, try something new. Goes from turf to dirt.
Yeah, it'd been going longer on the grass,
Yep.
now sprinting on the main track. Madam Overserved, Bill Morey.
That's a funny name. Horse tries the dirt for the first time. It's all turf pedigree. Why is this horse 5-1?
A lot to like with this one. Look who she faced first time out and showed speed against the brilliant Casual who we're going to see in the Acorn.
I am betting congratulated in this race. Anywhere close to 5-1. I will use the 4 movie Moxie, but Greg, I think you and I are on the same horse here.
Bellucci, we are 24-1 first time out. American Pharaoh filly for Ian Wilkes.
Yeah, this there's a half to Salty, who won the Acorn here just a few years ago for Mark Cassie.
And Bell in the City, Kelsey Danner.
Feels like a long shot based on the recent effort.
So a huge price on the outside runner as we go to Jonathan Kitchen for our Twin Spires market mover.
Yeah, Wolfie, it's the 4 movie Moxie. Like Andy said, that's a lot of money this horse is taking. For a trainer that does, he's 12% in his career with first-time starters. So to get this type of money, there's obviously the word is out on how this horse is working and exercising in the morning, and I think that they know. I think the 2 Spidey Girls taking a lot of money too. Andy pointed that out as well, making her first start as a 3-year-old. I think that those 2 seem dangerous according to the tote board.
Well, if you want to bet the market mover, anyone else in this upcoming race, Twin Spires offering you $25 in bonus bets. Use the code GET25 at twinspires.com or on the Twin Spires app. You have to play 25 to get that $25 in bonus money in your account. We send it upstairs to Travis Stone for the call. Race 4 from Churchill Downs.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Slow starts for Bellucci and Norma Jean B. Bell in the City from the outside. Partylicious. Partylicious comes out there to take over the lead and opens up. Bell in the City chasing from second. Spidey Shirls down inside, moving up at a third. Madam Overserved is into fourth. Movie Moxie not far behind fifth. A break of 3 back, 2 congratulated in 6th. Tough Bird in between while 7th. Norma Jean B down inside 8th. And out sprinted so far is Bellucci. 21-3 was at opening quarter mile. Onto the far turn, Partylicious trying to get away from the pack. Opens up a length and a half with 3 furlongs to go. Bell in the City's working harder to keep up in between. Madam Overserved is there. Movie Moxie switches outside, and here she comes now. Spidey strolls in tight toward the rail. Tough Bird congratulated and Norma Jean B. They're off the turn. Partylicious is still in front, top of the stretch. Movie Moxie straightens out and is coming on now. Madam Overserved between them. 1 furlong to go. Partylicious keeps on going. Partylicious at a big price has repelled everybody else. Partylicious 21-1 under the wire. Madam Overserved was second. Movie Moxie flattened out for third, and Norma Jean B was fourth.
Al Stahl, filly, first time out by Fast Anna at a big number, 21-1.
The way they were betting the race, you would think that Partylicious was the 4 who went up at 6-5, but Partylicious in the front with Miguel Mena and Al Stahl and just never stopped. This was an impressive performance. I don't think that the 4 movie Moxie ran that badly, maybe not as well as a 6-5 shot should, but wow, this was, see this horse in Saratoga. Bring him on up, Al.
And again, if not for having to be disruptive, maybe we would have been seeing her today.
Yeah, we're seeing some, I don't know how fast the race was, but that was an impressive performance. Not quite as impressive as this one, though, Greg.
No, this was big time. First out, Happy Saver. Again, 121-2 in the debut, going 7/8. Todd Pletcher and Irad Ortiz Jr. team up as we head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Impressive effort first time out here for Happy Saver. And Todd, you had your hands all over this one. Train the sire, train the dam. But Todd, we ran the grade 1 Woody Stevens earlier, and it was a similar time as this guy debuted in today. Were you expecting this performance, and what'd you think of it?
Yeah, we've been very pleased with the way we've been training. My concern was he hasn't been real sharp from the gate, and actually today I told Irad be prepared he might not break super, and he actually got a flyer. So once he put himself in that position, I felt very good about it.
Yeah, it's always a good sign when they break that sharply like that. And Todd, with success in the Belmont Stakes coming up later, you're 3-time winner of it, looking to send out Dr. Post and Farmington Road. You'd worked them together earlier in their preparations. Talk about that last work. You actually had Dr. Post sitting behind Farmington Road. Was that to kind of get Farmington Road possibly involved a little bit earlier, or is more a target for Dr. Post?
We just felt like that's the way the work would go, the smoothest. I don't anticipate Farmington Road's going to show a whole lot of speed. He hasn't so far. You know, he'd benefit from a good hot pace. A little concerned about the way the track's playing for him. But, you know, if they go fast enough, he's training great. And Dr. Post, we're real pleased with the way he's coming in. It was a good work for both of them.
Well, Todd, wishing you the best of luck. Congratulations here. It looks as though you have a very talented colt on your hands.
Thank you.
All right, Greg. Well, happy Saver. Man, almost feels as though maybe he should have been running in the Woody Stevens if they had had a little more prep into him.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to have been there as good as he ran today. Unfortunately, they didn't get a starting spot until this afternoon, but this is one we're going to keep our eyes on and I think hear a lot more about in 2020 in upstate at Saratoga. Look at the current odds for the 152nd running of the Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets, the big favorite. 'Tis the Law. For Barkley Tag, Saratoga Stable, Son of Constitution at even money on the board right now. Our second choice. Horse just a couple of ticks off a track record at 1 mile and 1/16 just 16 days ago here at Belmont, the opening week of the meet. That is Tap It to Win for trainer Mark Casse, who's looking to win his 3rd straight in the Triple Crown Series. We'll be back. More America's Day at the Races on the way right after this.
As the world faces unprecedented challenges, our faith and resolve have been challenged like never before. But tough times never last, tough people do. Thanks to all the fans, the backstretch workers, trainers, owners, breeders, veterinarians, and countless others behind the scenes. We are inspired daily by your commitment, and we applaud your passion for this great sport. Together we'll rise above this, and soon we will all run happy again.
Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new Mobile Pass Performances. Access the most trusted information in horse racing, including exclusive buyer speed figures and DRF analysis and selections. Experience the new mobile optimized DRF Pass Performances on your phone from anywhere at any time. Go to drf.com/Fox. Use coupon code FOX to get a free single card and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand.
Adrenaline pumping, hearts racing, the thrill of winning. And it all happens right here. Twin Spires, from the team behind the Kentucky Derby and the destination for horse racing wagering from around the globe. From beginner to expert, Twin Spires is betting made fun and easy. And for new players, once you place your first $25 worth of bets, we'll match that in bonus bets. Twin Spires, racing into your home. Download the app now. See site for details. Void where prohibited. Please wager responsibly.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. Greg Wolf with you as Partylicious 21-1, returning 45 plus. Jonathan here in the 4th at Churchill for Al Stahl.
Absolutely. She was very, very impressive. And daughter of Fast Anna, they didn't put Anna in the name. They do it with the boys. It throws me off. They could have put Anna here, but Partylicious looks like she might be having some parties the rest of this summer.
It gets me every time as well when we see a Fast Anna male colt.
I know.
Tough to wrap your head around.
I can't get it right if the horse's name is Joe. But with Anna, now they've really got me
It's
confused.
tough enough for this group. 5th at Churchill, 3/4 of a mile, 50,000 starter allowance. Diamond Crazy, the current favorite for Dallas Stewart, with Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard. We'll talk more about that race and, of course, much more on the Belmont Stakes as we get set to kick off the first leg of horse racing's Triple Crown. Our selections coming up next. Little hint, a few of us like the favorite.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Win, you win. Has taken command close to home. Win, you win.
They come down to the wire, and Minute to Stardom upsets them at 20-1.
The Petaluma Creamery has believed that the best dairy products come from happy cows. It's why owner Larry Peter insists that every cow we milk is born and raised naturally to produce the finest non-GMO 100% organic cheese and butter for your family. Shop our delicious line of Spring Hill cheeses. Pick your favorites, and we'll ship them right to your front door. Visit SpringHillCheese.com today and start serving your family the highest quality cheeses available. Petaluma Creamery, the best dairy comes from the happiest cows.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Belmont Stakes Day, a historic Belmont Stakes. For the first time in its history, it will lead off horse racing's Triple Crown. And a look at the Silks that will line up at the starting gate to kick things off at this one-turn mile and an eighth. Well, the Triple Crown, of course, is among the most revered accomplishments in American sports. And when a sweep happens to be on the line, it grips the entire country. But what about in a topsy-turvy year like this, where the last leg will be run first, and instead of 3 races in 5 weeks, it's stretched out to 15 weeks. Sports Illustrated's Pat Forty and Steve Haskin of the Blood Horse weigh in on what winning a Triple Crown would mean in the midst of a pandemic.
American sports fans love their traditions. None are richer than the Triple Crown. But the havoc coronavirus has placed on everyday life turned the sports world upside down, creating a new normal for much of the 2020 sports calendar. The Masters will be played in November. The NBA will crown a champion in the autumn, and in its 152nd running, the Belmont Stakes will lead off the Triple Crown for the first time in history.
Well, my first thought was, it's really weird. My second thought was, hey, this kind of works. You know, I like it. First of all, at least we're still going to have all 3 races.
Well, I would call it the best of a bad situation. I'm not sure yet if you would call it a Triple Crown season or if this year's Classic season, because it seems so disjointed. So it all depends on how each person perceives it. But it is crazy for sure.
The Triple Crown hasn't always been locked into the schedule we know today. In 1930, Gallant Fox won the Triple Crown. His path started at Pimlico before Churchill and Belmont. In 1917 and 1922, the Derby and Preakness were run on the same day. The 2020 Triple Crown will run over a 75-day span compared to the usual 35-day grind.
I like the spacing between the races, where now you've got plenty of time for horses to theoretically be rested and ready to run in all three of the Triple Crown races.
You can't start a Triple Crown at a mile and a half. That's not the way it works. It's hard to start it at a mile and an eighth too, especially when you're running around one turn. And at Belmont Park around one turn, it certainly puts the come from behind horses at a disadvantage. It's not easy for these trainers because of the fact that they haven't been able to train their horses and they haven't been able to race their horses the way they normally would.
What if a horse were to pull off the Triple Crown in all the craziness of 2020? How would history remember it?
I mean, it's still, you got to win all three. You can certainly note that they're different timetable, different schedule, different order, different distances. But if you win all three of those races, to me, you're still Triple Crown winner.
I don't believe that a horse who wins all three races should be included with the list of past Triple Crown winners because it's apples and oranges.
Given what's happened in our country that is not traditional and not normal this year, I'm fine with any horse that can win all three of those races being recognized as a Triple Crown winner.
Well, in a year like this, as you take a look at what this Triple Crown schedule will be, of course, we had to improvise this year. Some sports, Major League Baseball, we don't know if they're even going to have a season. The NBA is still trying to work things out. So a lot of players don't want to continue to play with what's going on. Having a Triple Crown, having it intact, we're grateful to be in this position where we are.
Absolutely, and there are opinions and there are facts. I disagree with Steve Haskins' opinion that they can't be, if a horse were to win this Triple Crown, they wouldn't be included with the others. I would argue it will be a much greater achievement. Staying sound, running against new shooters, so much more adversity thrown in their faces. But there's something that he's factually wrong about. A one-turn, mile-and-eighth race is much harder for speed horses and much easier for closers because the paces are much faster than they are in two-turn races. So this race actually favors closers in the way it's being run this year.
Look out for Sole Volante then, 11-1 on the board right now. As we take a look at the current odds for the Belmont Stakes as we go to Mig.
Well, Greg, first I got to say, Andy, we found something we agree upon. I think that a Triple Crown winner this year would be very tough because they'd have to stay good over a 15-week period. And that's why I'm going with New York Tough, the New York bred Tiz the Law. He is going to kick it off here in the Belmont Stakes, and he's bringing us into some sense of normalcy again. Maggie?
That's right, and it's been fun to watch this horse just progress throughout, well, what has been his 2 to 3 year old campaign. I fell in love with him back August 8th, 2019 at Saratoga. He has just captured my attention from that day onward. He's been my horse, well, for the Kentucky Derby, but now it's going to have to be for the Belmont. I'm all about Tiz the Law for Barkley Tagg and Manny Franco. JK, are you going with the Law man?
Yeah, I'm not going to mess up this thing. It's a nice graphic with all the 8s there. I'm going to go with Tiz the Law as well. If you have your $25 free play, I'm going to give you 2 ideas. You can play a double from the Jaipur, the race right before, with the 6 hidden scroll into the 8 Tiz the Law, or you can play an ice cold exacta, the 8 Tiz the Law with the 10 pneumatic. I think Tiz the Law gets the job done, gets one for the home team as a New York bred. Acacia?
And he's very easy to root for, Jonathan. I, too, am on the Tiz the Law bandwagon. I have been since Saratoga as well. I had the benefit of seeing him train down in Florida and race a couple of times in the Holy Bull and the Florida Derby. And he's really done everything right since coming to New York leading up to the Belmont. And if possible, he looks even stronger now than I saw him a couple of months ago. He's really easy to root for with his connections, trying to get that Belmont win that they missed out on in 2003, Andy.
Well, I'll just throw a little more weight on poor Tiz the Law because I like him too, but we have a $25 free wager. I'm going to make a $5 exacta box with a 3 max player for $10 of it, and then a cold $15 exacta 8-3 Tiz the Law over max player in the Belmont.
Let's complete the sweep. I like Tiz the Law as well. I think he's just so much fun to root for, and he showed his just extreme athleticism. It was on full display in that Holy Bull. From day one, he has shown and progressed that he is the cream of this crop as a 2-year-old and now continuing as a 3-year-old. A lot of weight on the New York bred Consacatoga stable. Barkley Tag complete the career Triple Crown sweep as Tizelaw tries to kick off the 2020 Triple Crown with a victory. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back on Belmont Stakes Day as our coverage continues here in Elmont, New York, right after this.
Ironicus. This graded stakes-winning millionaire defeated over 20 Grade 1 winners, including Canadian champion and Horse of the Year Up With the Birds. A Grade 2 winner and course record setter at Saratoga, he won 3 graded stakes and was runner-up in multiple Grade 1 events. His first yearlings have sold for over 7 times his stud fee. The leading money earner at stud for emerging Sire of Sires Distorted Humor. Ironicus, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Adrenaline pumping, hearts racing, the thrill of winning. And it all happens right here. Twin Spires, from the team behind the Kentucky Derby and the destination for horse racing wagering from around the globe. From beginner to expert, Twin Spires is betting made fun and easy. And for new players, once you place your first $25 worth of bets, we'll match that in bonus bets. Twin Spires, racing into your home. Download the app now. See site for details. Void where prohibited. Please wager responsibly.
If your run-happy 2-year-old wins a maiden special weight at Belmont Summer Meet, Saratoga, Del Mar, or Kentucky Downs, you shall receive a $100,000 bonus. Remember, win an extra $100,000 in 2020 when your run-happy 2-year-old wins a maiden special weight at Belmont Summer Meet, Saratoga, Del Mar, or Kentucky Downs. Be happy and run happy.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures, and there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guy's gonna do it.
Funny Guys winning the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Blood Horse Magazine making their Belmont results issue available free to everyone to view online or through their tablet app. Sign up now. You'll be notified when this special issue is available on Tuesday. Go to bloodhorse.com/Belmont 2020 to sign up to get the full recap on all the action from this afternoon. 6th race is next at Belmont as we approach the 10-minute mark to post.
And Barkley Tag, he may be thinking about Tiz the Law, but right now he and Manny Franco are thinking about Highland Glory. Correct?
You have been so high on this horse all week long. Grade 3 wonder again. Mile on the turf here for 3-year-old fillies. What do you like about her?
I just think she's a super talented filly. You know, you talk about trips. 2 back, she had the wrong kind of trip, wide with no cover the whole way around. And last time she got enormous trouble early and got shuffled completely out of the race. And she ran very well to be second there. I think this is a very good filly. Now, this is a good field. No denying that. But I think she's going to be the best today.
Well, Sweet Melania lining up for Todd Pletcher, already a graded stakes winner. She won the Jessamine at Keeneland. She's a 6-5 favorite. Time now for a paddock report. It's brought to you by Run Happy. So we head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And we're about to have riders up here for the Grade 3 Wonder again, Greg. And we'll start off by talking about, well, the horse Andy likes, and a lot of people do, in number 3, Highland Glory for trainer Barkley Tag, as she's coming in here. And from what I've seen, at least comparing her from 2 to 3, is that, well, she was a very athletic and nicely put together 2-year-old, but she has expounded on that frame quite a bit. She's fairly sharp heading into here. Now, as far as my notes go, and as far as what I could see from the replay in her last effort in the Honey Rider, she just had a shortcut blinker on. She comes in today wearing an extension blinker, so covering her right outside eye nearly completely. So I noticed she was a little bit tough to handle when she broke from the gates that time. I'm wondering if that's a corrective piece of equipment that they put on her here today. So I'm always a little bit leery of horses adding those extension blinkers, as we'll check in with number 5. That is Selflessly for Chad Brown, coming back as a 3-year-old. Now, look, I liked her a lot as a 2-year-old. 2-year-old, to be honest. So, of course, I'm going to like her here in the paddock. She's so elegant. She's so kind of typey and effeminate, and she just presents herself with this confidence, and she has a really typey head to her as well. But she looks fit. She looks ready to go. She's been working with some of Chad's older fillies and mares, maybe not going quite as well as them. I would have liked to seen a little bit better workouts heading into here, but here in the paddock, I like what I see, as we'll check in with Meg.
Yeah, Maggie, it's always interesting to me when they work younger horses against older horses. I would liken it to when, like, Mike Tyson was 16, sparring with guys that were already accomplished heavyweight fighters. You know, they've still got to develop and catch up a bit from a physical perspective. We have a big favorite here in the 2, Sweet Melania, and I'm assuming that's because it looks like she's lone speed here. And I have a question for Andy. Andy, I think Highland Glory makes a lot of sense, but are you a little worried that there appears to be a lack of pace in this race?
Well, yes, I am. I absolutely am, Richie. That is a concern. But I don't know that Sweet Melania is lone speed, because I think Antoinette is fast enough to be running with her early in this race. And I have to think that Antoinette's going to be on her, and Highland Glory shouldn't be that far behind. But no, Richie, that is a legitimate concern. And it's not cheap speed either.
Here comes our post parade. We begin with Speak to Me of Summer. And again, you mentioned summer's going to happen a little later tonight.
And she gets Lasix for the first time after running very well for Christophe Clement as a 2-year-old. She's not without a chance.
A minute before the Belmont, it begins officially?
5:45, 44, and I believe it's scheduled to start at 45.
Sweet Melania for Todd Pletcher, Robert and Luana Lowe, and a Grade 2 winner of the Jessamine.
We'll see if John Velasquez and Antoinette put pressure on this horse. She ran very well in the Breeders' Cup with not the easiest of trips.
Highland Glory 7-2 for Barclay Tagg. The trainer, of course, of Tiz the Law, was a winner of the Sanibel Island at Gulfstream back in late March.
Yeah, she has shown real ability in her turf races, and she has a big pedigree for it. I'm a big fan of the family, but I really like this horse. I think the one turn at Belmont in the Widener should really suit her running style.
5001, perhaps? Antoinette sent out by Belmont.
You know how that happens, right? For 2 weeks,
I
he couldn't
promise.
get it. But no, I'm just saying she'll win another one. She's an improved horse in the dirt, and she's a better turf horse. She can win.
And Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables. Javier Castellano sent out this daughter more than ready. Put her in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf in the 3rd start of her career.
Well, she had an impressive win in the Miss Grillo, a big race here at Belmont on the inner turf course, not the Widener.
So she broke her maiden.
Better on the Widener.
In a Grade 2.
She had a wide trip last time, breaking from an outside post. She ran fine in the Breeders' Cup. She's okay.
We go to Churchill Downs, 5th race about to load. Market mover time. JK, who do you have?
I like the 4 Spitefulness. I thought this horse was interesting at a price. Ran well first time from Michelle Lovell and was involved in some pace in there. And I love horses that can show some pace and then hopefully find their range afterwards. I like this horse at a big price.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. You want to bet the Twin Spires market mover or anyone else? Twin Spires offering you $25 in bonus bets. Use the code GET25 at twinspires.com or on that Twin Spires app. Play 25. You'll get the $25 worth of bonus bets in your account right away.
I like the 5 Diamond Crazy, the favorite in here, and would make a 5-6 exacta box, but not a major opinion.
All right, that is the 9-5 favorite, that filly, the 5 Diamond Crazy for Dallas Stewart. You're watching the home of racing from Churchill Downs on Fox Sports as we go to Travis Stone for the call.
They're in the gate. And the rough, Diamond Crazy with a good start at mid-pack, but quickly here comes Royal Priority coming on, and Spitefulness is there too. Take Targe Erica on the outside up to be 3rd, and then it's Duplicitous down inside 4th. Royal Priority skitters up the inside to grab the lead, opens up by a length. Spitefulness on the chase, racing 2nd. Take Charge Erica in the clear, running along in 3rd. Duplicitous down inside 4th. 5 back on Feeding Beauty now 5th. Ready for my close-up inside 6th. Diamond Crazy broke on top, but is now back into 7th. Gold Credit is 8th as they chase Royal Priority round the far turn. 21 seconds flat. A wild opening quarter mile for Royal Priority. Here comes Spitefulness on the outside with a challenge. Take Charge Erica, third on the outside. Duplicitous is fourth on Fading Beauties, coming on from fifth. And Gold Credit with a good move on the far turn, switches outside. The pace taking its toll on the pacemakers. It's Spitefulness who comes away with the lead. Duplicitous dies down inside. Stopped in behind horses with Diamond Crazy. Far outside, Gold Credit trying to come on late. On Fading Beauties there too. Take Charge Erica battles on. Spitefulness is desperate for the wire. Here comes Diamond Crazy. And Diamond Crazy finds a seam late and scores. From off the pace over Spitefulness second, Duplicitous was third, and Gold Credit finished fourth.
Favorite gets the win. Diamond Crazy, 5-4-1 finish.
I think Brian Hernandez was thinking mid-stretch, if I don't win this race, I'm going to really feel badly, because he just got completely blocked behind horse kind of the eighth pole, but she was able to get through because the pace was so fast. And frankly, Jonathan's pick, Spitefulness, ran a winning race there, considering the pace.
Diamond Crazy with the victory. Mig, your final thoughts here as we get set for the big one coming up later today.
Well, I'm just really looking forward to a great Belmont Stakes. I hope everybody gets a clean trip. 'Tis the law. He's going to be keeping Tap It to Win in his sights, and hopefully Manny Franco finds his way to the winner's circle for his first Classic.
Look at the current odds for the 152nd edition of the Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets. And for the first time, we see Manny Franco's mount 'Tis the Law at odds on at 4-5.
Wow, that's a big swing. You know, obviously, listen, we were showing the odds before. There was 680,000 in the win pool. That pool is going to be considerably higher, a multiple maybe of 10 or more even. So it's not surprised some changes, but 4-5. Even with all of us picking him, I would have thought he would go up to like 4-1. 'Tis the Law is the horse to beat. We're all looking for the Belmont, but we're just all happy to be here and have a chance to get this Triple Crown started. And while there's a big gap until the Kentucky Derby, there's some great races in between, the Haskell at Monmouth, but the Travers at Saratoga, which we announced for August 8th. And it's kind of a Triple Crown where there's almost a fourth or fifth element where a horse has a chance to win, whether the Haskell or the Travers in the middle, and then the other races.
And 'Tis the Law's connections have stated they want to tackle that Travers too. It will be at a mile and a quarter. It'll be a month away from the Kentucky Derby, so horses can go in both. But they would love to be able to not just win the Triple Crown, but take that Travers as well.
Well, they'd like to complete that Triple Crown sweep, what they didn't do with Funnyside here, and then they have a chance, because Funnyside was scratched on Travers Day, actually, back in 2003. It's a chance to win that race. And after that, it's all just, you know, the cherry on top. But first things first. Let's see if 'Tis the Law can get it done. He's got a lot of weight in his back, but he's a darn good racehorse.
We hope you enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun as the Triple Crown kicks off for the first time ever in the Belmont Stakes in a one-turn mile and an eighth. We're going to be signing off here. You can turn over to NBC to watch live coverage of the Belmont Stakes. We're back at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 2 and MSG+. Bill Mott, he got number 5,000. Moon over Miami delivered him that historic number. Tom Amoss and No Parole, a grade 1 win in the Woody Stevens. What a performance from that speedster. A gate-to-wire win, and it was decorated Invader for Christophe Clement and West Point Thoroughbreds in the Pennine Ridge. We'll see you at 6 Eastern on Fox Sports 2.